All right, here we go. Academics, welcome back.
What up, Vlad?
Welcome back. One of my franchise players.
Yo, Vlad, I could tell. Yo, Vlad hit me twice. He didn't get an answer. He hit me a third time. I could say, all right, it looked like Vlad needs me to suit up. I don't know who's missing on the field, but I got to come in here and drop 80. I'm here, Vlad. What's going on? What's going on in the kingdom?
Yeah, well, you know, the Aries Spears stuff is going to drop right around the same time this is dropping, so we're not going to talk about that because there's an hour of me talking about that. But I think the proper way to start this is the whole Boosie situation, which you jumped into as well, to the point where Boosie even responded to you at one point. What do you think overall of that situation?
By the way, I love the platform. So you said this before. All of us, like, you know, new media guys, we're all friends. We all trade ideas. We all speak. And I love for each platform, usually they have that one particular show or guest that they have some great synergy with. And when it comes to VladTV, it's obviously Boosie. We love watching Boosie on VladTV. We like Sean Cotton with Charleston White. Wack and Adam, they do a good job.
Yep.
And I enjoy that. Now, I noticed I didn't see Boosie on for a while.
Yeah, about 7 months or so, yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that we're usually saying, but what does Boosie think? What's going on with Young Thug? What's going on with Gucci? And, you know, me and you spoke, and we spoke privately, and you kind of told me what was going on, but I was just like, you know what? And you know, this been my conversation with you. I said, hey, listen, it's going to work it out. And you know, and I don't know if you'll admit this now that we're on camera, but when you've kind of even given me the situation, I'm like, you know what? You know, Boosie's like, he's such a really good guest for you. I think you guys are so special. This is such a special connection. I get it because I understand like his side of stuff, but I understand your side. Sometimes you have to like take the loss a little bit just to make him feel good, but you got to keep the show going. And it felt like it was, you know, I kept encouraging like, you guys are going to work it out. And you know I've said that to you. You guys are going to work it out.
Right. And I just want to say that you knew about my situation with me and Boosie.
Yes.
Probably weeks before Boosie, you know, went public with it. But we kept it quiet.
Yes.
When I told you, I said, listen, this is what's happening. Don't say anything.
Yep. Facts.
Because it might blow over. But even if it doesn't, that was personal business conversations with me and Boosie, who I still respect, who I still consider a friend. So don't say anything, but you know, me being friends with you, you knew about it. So it was no shock when it came out.
And I thought it was going to resolve itself. And the moment I seen Boosie make the comment, well, I'm going to do my own interview. Yeah. I was like, all right, well, he's still being...
but he said, not Vlad.
Yes.
He threw my name in it.
But I'm like, you know, he's still being a little bit evasive. And then he finally came out and said, well, I'm not doing Vlad because of $5,000.
Yeah.
And this is where I knew you were put in the ultimate pickle. And that being, the fans don't know what the actual business is behind you working with someone like Boosie. I know. You've told me, hey, listen, I'm paying this guy, paid him $25,000.
Yeah.
That's top dollar for anything. Whether it's people can get a Boosie verse from what I've heard, I don't want to, you know, mess up his rates, for less than $25,000.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I heard that too.
So you are doing an interview that's helping to promote him. You know, I've always, you know, me and you have slightly different business models. You will compensate your guest. Me, I'll wait till the guest needs me for the promotion because I look at it as it's like a quid pro quo, as they call it, right? It's like, hey, listen, well, I'm helping promoting your product and you are giving me content for my platform. And that's the kind of invisible handshake, even though I know these days it's much more than that. That's why you involve compensation. So when I'm looking at that with Boosie, I'm like, okay, all right, you guys are going to figure it out. And the 25K is a really good figure. Once he says the 5,000, I'm like, what does Vlad do here? And I was surprised, but actually proud of you slightly, because transparency is always the key online. I've always told people, if you want to talk, well, I could talk about anything. I'm just going to say the things that you probably were thinking I wasn't going to say. Because you're saying, nah, I thought that was private. And you did that. You came out with the facts. Hey, he's getting 25,000. I think the moment fans' ears heard that, they weren't on Boosie's side anymore. Boosie did a really good job of saying 5,000, where people probably thought that maybe he's only getting 5,000 and he wants another 5,000.
Or maybe he's getting 50 and 5,000 is just a little 10% bump. Because because listen, no.
I don't think they thought he was getting 50.
Well, hold on. I didn't mention this before, but if you watch the Breakfast Club interview with Boosie, he said, I get 500,000 a year doing Vlad TV interviews. Remember, I made a little GoFundMe page to make fun of that? I said, yo, man, I can't afford to pay Boosie $500,000. I need a GoFundMe. Some people actually donated. I stopped and gave people their money back. I was trolling. But yeah, he said that he makes $500,000 a year doing interviews with me. So, and I'm thinking that when he's throwing that out, because it's like, well, $500,000 a year is asked for 5,000. That's like 1%. Like, why are you being so cheap? And everyone's like, yo, man, Vlad paid Boosie's 5,000. You gonna make it back. He's made more than that. Like, people started attacking me over that comment.
But by and large, in part, I'm gonna be honest, people are fucked up out here, man.
Yeah.
I think most of the conversations and comments I saw were people saying, yo, dude, you sit at your house, which you also kind of really accurately painted how much effort he has to put in. You wake up, maybe walk into a room that is at your house, you've set up all the equipment, you've flown thousands of miles, you've brought all the people, and he has to talk to you for 2 hours, and he gets a $25,000 check. And I think people looked at that and said, okay, all right, we get it, you wanted a raise, but it's more to the story, because when you first said it was over 5,000, you made it seem as if maybe you weren't being fairly compensated in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, people are fucked up out here. 25,000, and another thing, which is not necessarily a gripe at you, because I'm not necessarily in that business, but I've told you this many times, Vlad. I said, these problems you're having, you created yourself. You created an infrastructure in a market. A lot of, not only for your own selfish purpose, you wanted to compensate fairly the people that worked with you. But what happened is that then you start a whole market where people start watching other people's paycheck. They start watching your pockets, because when you could pay them 25, they're wondering, people have this saying that if they pay you 25, they're getting 3 times more.
Right.
So now they're watching you.
Yeah.
And that turns into, the moment you said you paid Tekashi 6ix9ine the most ever, everybody probably started to look around and say, who was the previous guy who got paid the most ever, and what do we think it is?
Yeah, I really feel that the business relationship ended with Boosie being jealous of 6ix9ine's appearance fee, and then Harry Spears got jealous of Boosie's appearance fee.
Domino effect.
It was like a domino effect, but I'm okay with that because I'm down to be transparent. And when I'm transparent, and when you look at the numbers, and remember when I threw out, I'm like, yo, he gets about 5.5 million views, and this is about how much? Maybe around 35,000. Maybe a little more once you cut expenses, but it only is about $10,000 profit margin. Like, no one said, oh, Vlad's lying. He's really making 10 times that. You have a whole YouTuber community out there that knows these numbers, including yourself. No one said, Vlad's lying. He's really pocketing way more than that. He's being cheap. No one said I was lying. Not a single person. And the thing with Boosie was that, and I don't think I've mentioned this before, when we first started the conversation, the first thing he said was, yo, Vlad, people are DMing me and saying that they're going to cancel their paid subscription if I don't come back on. They're all going to cancel, Vlad. They're canceling their paid subscription. And this is what I mean about making business decisions based on comments or DMs or something your man tells you. Like, you don't base business decisions on there. Because I think in Boosie's head, he's thinking, man, all these people are paying Vlad for paid memberships. For me, they're all there for me. Well, I'm going to start my own Patreon.
Boosie thought it was bigger than the program.
And they're all going to come to me.
Vlad, you've been keeping kid gloves with him, and he's been keeping kid gloves. Because I could tell y'all love each other. Yeah. But still, Boosie thought it was bigger than the program, right? Like, let's be honest. Again, we love Boosie, and that's the thing. Because he even, when he aimed some comments at me, he was like, well, you're Vlad's boy, this and third. I'm like, listen, there's no other way to actually look at this, right? And I tried to look at it another way. Because a lot of times when you deal with people who have helped businesses through its growth, they'll use these non-tangible things to put to a worth. When you come up and you say, hey, listen, you did 4.5 million views. This is what the numbers is. If this is how the percentage is, this is what you get and I get. This is what overhead is to create all this stuff. There is no conversation. He won't even talk the numbers. So that's when people use intangibles to actually try to, massage what they actually want. These are the intangibles. Well, I made you cool.
Yeah.
Well, the black community didn't like you.
Yeah.
I made you. You know how many rappers called me? And when they called me, they were like, why you rock with that guy?
Yeah.
And those are like the intangibles where he's saying, for whatever I'm asking you that doesn't make sense on paper, I need to be compensated that way. Right?
Yeah.
And, I've always said, listen, I understand those intangibles, but a lot of times people start feeling that they're valued that when their numbers start dipping. Right?
Yeah.
It's not that
which his numbers did. His numbers have dipped over time. The pandemic, his numbers were crazy. Now the numbers are a fraction of that.
So
that's life.
Like, put it like this, and I made like an analogy, right? I don't know your numbers necessarily. I don't know if it's true, but I said there was probably a time when Boosie was a regular guest on a particular given month when he had an interview, maybe his views for that interview constituted about like 30% or maybe 40% of your overall channel views. This is way back, right? I said now, when he does an interview, it's probably 10%, maybe less for that month, because you have grown. The business has grown. You have a lot more known and also frequent guests that also give valuable insight that also do numbers. Maybe not Boosie numbers, but does numbers enough that could sustain. Maybe 2 of those equal a Boosie or 3 of those.
Right.
And what that does is that what Boosie's thinking his value is, your value when you're bringing in 10 million views and the channel does 20 versus you bringing 8 million views and the channel is now doing 60.
Right. But okay, but let me just put it in context for you. I mean, we do tens of millions of views every month.
Yeah.
Right? Like we did like close to 400 million views last year. So very few guests just move the needle completely, right? They just don't, because you're also looking at an 18-year catalog, and certain videos in that catalog are still getting views. Now, it's not so much...
You're the king of flashbacks, too.
Yeah, but the flashbacks don't really do that well.
Man, well, the amount of times I've seen this goddamn Gucci video is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, because Gucci's in the, and I've never had a real Gucci interview outside of that one, so that's what I'm going to use. But the thing is that the catalog itself continues to get views, especially like the life story pieces on people, like the evergreen content. Now, with Boosie, it's not really evergreen content. It's what are the current events happening right now? When he said, yo, my grandkids aren't going to make any money and you're going to still be making money off my videos. Like, I'm really not. I'm really not. Like, the videos we do are for the moment. There's a huge jump in the beginning, and then over the next week or two, it kind of goes down close to zero. And that's what it is, man. And look, Boosie has launched a Patreon. And
did you buy it?
I bought it.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
all
for
right.
$6. I checked out the interview. He has someone that kind of sounds like me asking questions, but it's not me. There's no follow-up questions. There's no interjection. It's a little bit, I don't know. I think he got one of his kids to do it. And the thing I thought he would release it on YouTube. And on YouTube, everyone would get to see the numbers. But instead, he released it on Patreon, so you don't get to see the numbers. But when you look at the actual Patreon page, it's got 61 likes and 54 comments.
And usually you could only if you buy the content, you could like or comment.
Yes.
Okay.
So granted, everyone that bought it didn't like it or comment it, but
even if you do a 10X on that, saying only 1/10 did it.
You're nowhere near $35,000.
Yeah. So even if, okay.
Yeah. And the thing is that when you look at my first piece about the Boosie situation, what I said was, I'm actually happy that Boosie is doing his own podcast because he'll get to see for the first time what's it like on the other side. He'll get to spend money on his camera crew. Took him a while to edit it, right? It's not like he filmed it and it came out. It took like 2 weeks for it to come out. So he had to deal with the editing and the back and forth and everything else like that. And then now it comes out and now he first has to recoup all the upfront cost and then he'll see how much back end revenue he'll get. This is only part one. I don't know how many parts there are, but I don't know. I think Boosie finally gets to see what I've been dealing with the whole time. And when he said, well, I'm gonna make more money doing it myself, I think he's gonna see that that's probably not the case. At least not right now. Now, if he says, all right, cool, that's the first one. Next month, I'm gonna drop another one. And then another one, then another one, then another one, and I'm gonna keep building up my Patreon. But Patreon is hard. It's hard to build up a Patreon audience.
The point
That's why I don't even do it anymore.
The point is he needs to build a platform.
Yeah.
It's great. You're Boosie and you're Boosie anywhere, but you could do a interview with an unknown channel and it will get marginal amount of views compared to you doing it on VladTV. And when you go to Patreon, even though your name is connected, that's your platform isn't established. You haven't gotten the user trust, you haven't gotten the subscribers, you haven't gotten the paid people that are going to be there consistently to watch the content.
I actually looked. So on Boosie's Patreon, he has 1,800 members. Now you could join for free.
Yeah.
But you still have to buy the video. So I think you have to be a member in order to buy. So 1,800 members, he has a ways to go to build a platform. And what Envy said was absolutely right. He could make more money than me, than fucking with me. But it's going to take him years. It's going to take a while.
I think 1 year, he's got to do at least 12 interviews, be consistent, keep pushing people. It's like, I'm going to be honest, you know who I'm really proud of? I'm proud of Joe Budden. When I saw the numbers that Joe is reportedly getting 20 million off of Patreon, Joe specifically does 2 to 3 or maybe 4 extra podcasts beyond the 2 that's public. That's for his Patreon, and his biggest guest, he will just solely put there just out of belief that people are the content is so good, they're gonna go there. It took him years to the point that he could finally brag to say, I got $1 million or he's getting over $1 million, I think, or 2 million, whatever, per month that he's getting via their subscription. But he worked on it from, like, every time I used to go on Joe Budden's show, it was a Patreon exclusive for at least a week and a half, right? And he worked at getting that number up, but it doesn't happen quickly.
Yeah.
A lot of creators, the difference between a creator and a platform owner is that the platform owner is taking these risks long term. You're buying into this content, you're investing, you're making investments. The creator is cashing out on their talent at the moment, right? Hey, I'm hot, I'm popping, give me this amount of money. When you give me this money, I feel compensated, I give you what you want, and I walk away, right? But a platform, when you spend whatever to invest in a podcast that might be on here, or you're like, hey, listen, I want Boosie to be on here. You're like, you know what? I have Boosie's best, just like all the stuff, I don't know if you're paid like Keefy D and stuff like that. All those guys you interviewed for like that Tupac stuff, you have invaluable interviews in perpetuity that you invested in, invested in creating that content that is now going to be worth more later. And that's what Boosie was saying, right? When he's like, oh, you're going to own it forever. Well, not everything. Like, no one cares about your comments about Gucci in 2040. They might care about your life story. And that's another thing I said about your platform. I said, these guys don't realize when you go to Vlad, this is how it works. Your first interview is your life story. Vlad does a really good job. He researches everything. He's going to ask you about the time you cheated on the test, to the one time you peed the bed. He knows everything. He gets it in. And he might ask you a little about like some current events, but that's the basis of your VladTV biography. After that, you become, based on your celebrity status or how popular you are and also how entertaining you are, you're now a commentator. You're a commentator on the VladTV network that's going to be talking about, hey, did you see what happened? What's your thoughts given your experience? And people will be able to follow and say, well, I know why he doesn't like this. He actually went to jail because someone snitched on him. So of course he's going to comment like this about a snitch. Cool. But you have these guys recur and you try to have a good relationship with them. Boosie's taking it like those things are like going to be valuable in perpetuity. I do news-related content. I've always said this. And you know this from when you do content that is really reactive. You get a 2-week burn period. After that 2 weeks, people move on. These days, people are moving on even quicker.
Yeah.
This Pooh Shiesty stuff right now, the only thing that is going to kind of linger and all the vultures could feed on it is that essentially there's going to be a trial. There's going to be some stuff that's going to drag. But for most things, it's like, okay, it's over. You talk about some after effects and then so what? But people don't realize like that. People are thinking, oh, I'm coming in for an interview that's evergreen. No, you're not. Like Boosie's interviews, we want to hear him talk about the current, even now with his own interview. I didn't buy the whole thing. I seen a clip on YouTube. I mean, on Twitter. He was speaking about Thug and the Thug jail calls. And I was just like, this would have been so amazing if he spoke about it maybe the week after.
Yeah.
We forgot about Young Thug's jail calls, right? And we're like, finally, Boosie speaks. Just 8 months too late.
Yeah, we just don't care about that particular topic anymore because it's too old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if he wanted to move the needle a little bit more with his own, I hope he takes that approach. Say he wants to keep going with Patreon. When something happens, react during the week. Okay? I think a week is like the max you have before you need to move on to the next thing. But we'll see. And I do wish the best for Boosie. We're going to see if he can go from a creator to a platform creator. You need to create a platform by being consistent. You need to be on time. You need to figure out a system to be professional, look good, sound good. And you need to be able to galvanize and also get the audience. You know, he has an audience, but you have to get them now to Patreon. You're starting on you were on VladTV on YouTube. You're now hoping people jump from YouTube, go to Patreon, then put their credit card in, then wait for, they don't know when the content's coming out. You don't have a content schedule. The first thing when I clicked on it, again, this is not hate. This is just like, again, I run a platform. We've learned things by running the platform. When I clicked on Boosie, when Boosie made the video saying, hey, it's going to be on Patreon on Friday, I clicked on his thing. I hit his link tree. I couldn't find the Patreon link to save my life. So now he tells me he's on Patreon. I can't find it. So I go to Patreon. I type in Boosie. Because he just made a new page, or it's not that popular, I couldn't find the page. It's just not just Boosie. So now it's very difficult. You're now creating hoops and these barriers of entry for a supporter to actually do it, to actually support you. So I think he needs to put in a year of work. He puts in a year of work, he's super dedicated. He might pop back up and be like, yo, Vlad, you were paying me that little measly $25,000. I'm getting $75,000 right now. A month.
Great.
And I own everything.
Great. And I'll be happy for him. I have no problems with that. I've never told anyone who's been a guest on my show that they shouldn't start their own platforms. In fact, anyone who's been on my show who has their own platform, I'll go to their platform and be a guest. Like you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, if that's how it works out for him, that's great. But he'll see that it's not overnight. It's not just that Boosie and suddenly the audience appears. It's a little bit different. Now Boosie has to put his business hat, CEO hat on, and actually invest in his own operation and put it out and promote it and have to hire like social media managers and hire other people and hire editors and so forth. And he's gonna have to put out money. It's not a free check like the $25,000 that I was paying him.
I feel bad for Boosie when he got back online and he was kind of cussing out the fans saying, yo, fuck you guys for turning on me. and I was just like, you know, this is one thing, and I hate to be critical of, you know, I'm gonna just say our people. I think sometimes we have this blind type of understanding or expectation that people will just rock with you because they love you. Like, you know, like Boosie accused me of not liking him, which I thought it was ludicrous. I've only disagreed with him with two things. I said, in this situation with you and Vlad, it's a business situation, and anyone with a business mind or could just do basic math would know that Vlad is not doing anything to you that's unethical or he's not treating you unfairly. And if he did deny you that raise, to be honest, the numbers, if what he's saying is correct, you're actually getting paid appropriately, and actually there's no other market that would pay you similarly. In business, that's how it works. If you don't, there's no competing offers, there's no one who would offer you even $10,000 consistently. Maybe there is, but you haven't gone out there to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
If you and Vlad have that disagreement, I don't think Vlad's the worst person if he said no, right? And the other thing he said, I never agreed with him. It was some Kodak Black stuff. But, I'm a huge fan of Kodak Black. I always defend Kodak Black. I think he's a really misunderstood kid, but that's it. Nobody hates on Boosie, but I think Boosie wanted people to go against logic, right? And I seen him say, he was like, yo, man, I can't believe after I made Vlad cool to y'all. I can't believe that y'all look like agreeing with him. And I looked at that and I was just like, that was almost like manipulation, right? Like, I won't deny that Boosie hasn't been someone who, at least for a rapper, I do think some rappers look at it and be like, yo, man, Boosie be on there giving it up, like, and he do it in a cool player way where, he's not getting locked up or this, that, and third or whatever, because, despite whatever people want to say is rumors. Yeah. I do think that he's been that, but I don't think that because he's been that means that in every situation, people should just blindly agree with him. And also taking that mentality, and I thought this was the most egregious part about it, of it all. And again, if you're not telling the truth, I would love for him to say, yo, Vlad lied there. It's one thing being a friend, another thing being an associate. It's a third thing being a friend and associate where you guys do business, but you have respect and really, admiration for each other. Mm-hmm. When someone is down to say, I should get all the profits, fuck what you're getting, when you're clearly communicating with them in an open way saying, hey, listen, I'm not really making much. Here's the numbers. Like, I'm not hiding it from you. I'm not trying to be mythical. Like, I'm not making much as profit doing this. You're clearly getting 25. This isn't the time or the thing. And that person basically, their response to you kind of gives you the feeling that they don't give a fuck about what you make. It's about them. One-sided relationships and friendships, or even, there should never be a one-sided business relationship where only one person's benefiting. So, I think at that point, hopefully you guys kind of get back together, but I think Boosie's going to realize the other side of it. I just don't know. He's a prideful motherfucker, I know.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
And I don't know
That's why I'm not counting on us working out like next month or whatever else. It may or may not. But I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, I don't know if he will have the, I seen Charleston White get back with Sean Cotton. Mm-hmm. And Charleston White, he had just like this personality of, he'll be like, yeah, I thought we were done. And like, he'll play it off. And like, even if it was a real issue, he's not, he's not that much where he's like, I can't have people think that I went back to the platform. I feel like Boosie's one of those guys where like, he kind of wants to dig in. And if anything, it's going to possibly be on you where, maybe you're like, this is probably one of my greatest guests of all time. I'm going to try to fix this, maybe over some time, but I'm not going to lie. I could tell Boosie's definitely, he's hell-bent on trying to prove himself right.
Well, you said I crossed the line.
Yeah, you did.
When I made the comments about Boosie not investing his money.
I absolutely think you did, Vlad.
Where Boosie is fumbling the bag at this point in his life is that he doesn't invest his money. And we've had this conversation. I showed him my stock portfolio, and I showed him how your money needs to start working for you. Because right now, Boosie's running around the country every weekend, throughout the week, doing shows at 43 years old and getting those bookings. At 53, 63, he's not going to want to move around like that. And if Boosie, I think if he had invested his money, and look, Boosie has a high burn rate. He's got a house. I heard him recently on Twitter complaining about property taxes. He's got a lot of kids that he loves. He's a great dad. So he's buying his kids cars and clothes. He's always in designer. He's got a lot of jewelry. He flies around everywhere. And he's constantly putting hundreds of thousands of dollars back into his home to create this incredible home for himself. But that's not really an investment because that's just for himself. Boosie's never planning on selling this house. That's just for him and his family and his legacy. So the fact that Boosie doesn't have millions and millions and millions of dollars that are making money for him, I think he's always chasing after the bag. He's always trying to make an extra couple thousand here, make an extra couple thousand there.
Vlad, let me tell you this, man. When you see, us men, we all have an ego. You, I, everyone. Like, you know, we all have to check it. Got to check your ego. You got to keep it in check, really, to advance in life and not crash out. But also, we all have like this pride, and certain things are kind of sacred to us. And certain things, even if it's the truth, it hits differently, especially when said publicly. And I do know, especially us people of color, especially coming from this hip hop community, especially rappers, anytime their financial stability is ever questioned, is ever brought up, or ever insinuated about, they get really defensive. I'll give you an example that doesn't have to do with Boosie. I was covering the Offset situation. Me and Offset, we speak a lot. Offset calls me a lot of times. And, you know, I always have this one conversation with Offset. It puts me in a really tough spot where I have to, you know, I have one of the biggest media platforms in hip hop. I have to report about what's going on publicly with him. Brother, you're caught lacking, sleeping in a bed with Selena Powell, a girl who was integral in you and Cardi's relationship when there was a lot of scandals. I have to report it, bro. I get it. Me and him are cool. And I think he kind of looks at me and he's like, yo, well, why would you amplify this? And I'm like, it's not like I'm breaking the story, right? It's not like I'm like, hey, let me go find this. This is now news I have to speak on it. So we've kind of had like, you know, a little bit of an interesting relationship, but it's been cool. Like, you know, I saw him like pretty much every night on tour with Youngboy. He was on tour, and we hung out. Like, he played me music. I would be in the dressing room. Like, we were good. And, you know, not saying we're not good now, but what happened is that recently I could tell he was gaining this disdain. And actually, he did gain this disdain because, like, the conversations with me and him used to be like, yo, come on, bro. Like, yo, you gotta help me. Like, right now, you know, females are looking at me like this. You know, they're thinking about their image. Like, bro, like, I'm trying to not look like a villain. Get it? But the conversation started being a little bit more negative. It was kind of like, man, fuck you, man. And it was kind of like he's way more upset at me. Why was he upset? Well, he's upset because of certain narratives that essentially and inevitably were starting to circulate and get louder because of his own actions. And I would have these conversations. I would say, Offset, listen, I even try not to post every video of a fan watching you in the casino or taking a picture with you, but there's a narrative building. They're saying that you're the guy who have not done music recently, you're estranged from your wife, who's now with another guy, and you're in the casino gambling your pain away. That's what the narrative is. It's not me. And I think he's looking at it, was like, well, you're one of the biggest voices. You could help that. And I'm saying to him, I'm like, well, you have to understand what role you're taking. It's not that I could just say something and people don't, they'll be like, oh, okay, Offset's good. They're seeing pictures of you there consistently. These are things that if you weren't there or if you didn't allow these things to happen, no one could say anything. And I could see the lack of accountability there because he would just talk about what I would be doing to publicize certain stuff. Anyway, long story short, it gets to the point of the whole shooting thing, right, with Lil TJ. And, you know, when I had spoken to Selena previously about like him in the casino, she said he had borrowed $20,000 from her, right?
Damn.
Yeah, he said
Offset is borrowing $20,000.
She, according to her, right, in the messages. Remember, he didn't talk to her for a long time because remember she was like the chick that kind of almost ruined their relationship. But he's not with Cardi B anymore, and apparently, you know, Offset, when she's trying to like get back with Offset, she claims she like linked up back with him on Finsta and stuff like that, and apparently Offset agrees to kind of like hang out with her when she tells him that she has $20,000 in cash. So Offset says, bring the $20,000. He takes the 20, he gambles, and whatever happened, right? I guess they maybe sleep together or whatever. Cool. During that time, because she never got her money back, she actually took a lot of receipts. But everybody knows Selena Powell. She's gonna keep receipts on everything. And some of the receipts included like, you know, details about Offset, you know, losing a lot of money at the casino. And after the Lil TJ thing happened, all these things kind of came back to light because now people are saying, well, we're seeing patterns here. You know, this guy's losing a lot. He didn't pay her $20,000 back. well, look over here too. He may have gotten shot because he didn't pay this guy his $10,000. Me speaking about this, Offset, we had a conversation. And in the conversation, and I know we've kind of strayed off from the Boosie points, but I'm gonna make it make sense. Mm-hmm. I once again tell him the same things. Yo, Offset, some of these things you're creating. I understand when somebody feel like they're getting a bad shake from the media, but dude, you're in these environments. You're allowing fans to take pictures of you. They're now secretly recording you, making up fake captions because you're giving people the opportunity to keep writing this narrative that you're a degenerate just in the casino at all times. He says to me, he says, Ak, that ain't even it, man. Basically, he tells me that wasn't his issue with me at the point. He said, my issue with you is like, you're making it seem that me borrowing money from people or me being down at the casino for whatever amount of money, like I'm broke. I'm like, huh? He's like, yo, Ak, you gonna make me have to like up like $5 million on the gram. Like, yo, bro, you got it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's the most mad I've seen him. He was more upset that the narrative around everything made him seem like he didn't have money.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest ego hit, right? It's not, and I told him, I'm like, I gamble too much. Like, I'm not even the guy who calls, who's like the pot calling the kettle black. I just said, if you're gonna be in the casino, you're Offset, have some security. Just don't be in there in some slides, like looking like you just woke up every day. And for him, the thing he was mad about the most was that he said, y'all making it seem like, it's like, yo, you know how much money I got? And I realized that's where the ego hit happened. The ego hit is challenging his financial stability, and I understood that. And I actually, even though it's gonna sound counterproductive, I apologized to him for that. Because I said, you know what? I said, Offset, I know you're not broke. I know you're not broke. And I understand, even though it doesn't make sense, I understand why you're upset about me talking about or saying stuff that could paint a picture on your finances. That's why I said about Boosie. Boosie will take that, and again, I don't know him like that, but those are words that people will feel like you're trying to drum up a narrative like he's living paycheck to paycheck. People are really offended when their financial, their financial capability is put in question or at least put in the crosshairs. And I think you slightly did that, and I don't know if you think differently of it, but I've spoken off.
Okay, well, I'll say this. And Boosie, you're going to get to hear this. I'm sure people will send it to you. If you feel that what I said insulted you and it made it sound like I was saying you're broke, I really am sorry. That was not my intention, because what I said around that, and I don't know if you remember the whole thing, I'm like, Boosie's making a lot of money. He said he made $100,000 on the weekend just doing shows, and I believe it. He gets booked for a lot for shows. He has a lot of money coming in. He has a lot of assets. You know, he's got cars. He's got this big house and everything else like that. But when I said that, this is how I really meant it. Me and Boosie were in his house, and I showed him my stock portfolio. Very few people, you've never seen my stock portfolio. I showed Boosie my stock portfolio because I'm like, listen, I really care about you, right? We've known each other for 20 years. We have a friendship and a business relationship that's helped out both of us. We've all made, hundreds of thousands of dollars together, right? If not millions, if you count all the extra shit that's happened just between us. And I really want you to start investing your money, because right now is the best time for you to do it. I put him on the phone with Lil Bibby. I said, listen, Bibby's someone who I had this conversation with years ago. Bibby, how much have you made so far? And Bibby told him how much money he made. Right? I didn't say, Boosie, come under, I'll help invest your money and I'll take a piece. I never said that. I said, listen, I'll show you how I do it. You go do it yourself. I did the same thing with Bibby. And I felt like, yo, listen, as you get older, you're going to really regret not doing this sooner. So if me saying it gets him to be mad or makes him hate me or whatever, but also makes him think maybe Vlad has a point and let me look into this a second time because he ignored me the first time, then I've accomplished what I need to accomplish with someone I still consider a friend. You see what I'm saying? Because for me, it's more important for him to really invest his money and get to a point when he's 50, like my age, or 60 or 70, he's going to be sitting on tens of millions of dollars. And he's not going to be able, and he'll only do shows when he feels like doing shows. He's like one of these people that are like, yeah, I'll do a show. Yeah, I'll do this big event next month. But other than that, I'm just going to hang out with my grandkids. That's what I want. That's what I honestly want. And maybe I went about it the wrong way. And I'm sorry, Boosie, if that's how you took it. I am sorry. I didn't mean it that way. But that was really my intention. Because to me, like, financial literacy is a big deal. Like, I don't know if you realize, like, recently, hasn't gone fully viral, but I've seen, like, you know, people made videos about it with hundreds of thousands of views. There's this guy, right? It was like this black man and his son, right? Although I didn't care about what race they were. And it's a picture of a black man and his son with his arm around him. And he said, I just bought my son 40 acres. This is how we're going to build generational wealth. And it shows, like, it's like in the middle of nowhere, like a small lake and just like in the middle of nowhere, a piece of land in the background where they're standing. And I said, this sounds cool on social media, but the reality is a piece of land in the middle of nowhere that's not developed, that requires property taxes, is not really the greatest investment of all time. And people like to say, well, they're not making any more land. That doesn't mean it's a good investment. There's literally millions of miles of land in the world that nobody gives a shit about that won't be worth anything. And I said, what I did was I bought my kids stock portfolios in strong companies. Vlad stock's coming soon. And everyone's like, you telling this black man, you know, you're dissing this black man over, you know, trying to help his son, you white devil, culture vulture, blah, blah. And everyone's like, well, he didn't mention color. And when you see some of the normal comments, they're like, yo, this is actually pretty good advice. Like, a stock portfolio with like NVIDIA and Amazon is a little better than a piece of land in the middle of nowhere. But that's cool. Y'all can get mad at me. But there's going to be people on the way that says, hey, Vlad has a point, you know?
Yeah, but that's even different, though. Like, you know, I've seen your many debates over the years about stock portfolios or you know, just invested in stocks versus real estate. I mean, I've done both, you know?
Did you invest in a whole bunch of land in the middle of nowhere?
No, obviously not.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
I wouldn't tell anyone to do that unless you have an actual plan.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he shouldn't buy a home. He shouldn't buy a multi-unit property. But there's parts of New Jersey that are totally fucking worthless. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of nowhere, mid-New Jersey. Oh, I own 40 acres. Now you got to pay property taxes on it. You hand it down to your kids. Now the kids got to pay property taxes on it. No one wants to buy it. It's nowhere near a city. There's no electricity. There's no plumbing. There's no fucking internet. It's nowhere near a city. Like, it's not going to be worth anything. Oh, well, my grandpa bought a piece for $100,000. Now it's worth $10 million. Okay, sometimes you get lucky. But most times you have a piece of land that's worthless. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. And people want to use the racial, you know, aspect or whatever else. That's cool. Y'all get mad at me. But along the way, there's going to be some people that go watch this and say, you know, he actually kind of has a point. And I put my money where my mouth is. My stock portfolio has changed my life completely.
I think the Boosie thing is, just listen to the comments. I could understand if Boosie looked at it like, I think this nigga Vlad looks down on me.
No, because
I know. This is what happens, especially when, you know, people live like either flamboyant lives or, you know, you see them, they go through a lot of money quickly. And basically what you would, it kind of came across to me like you were like, hey, you're not really saving or investing too much. You know, you are making money, but, you know, it's in quick, out quick. A lot of times when men, we do look, when you could sense when people are, oh, he kind of looks down on me like I'm not on his level. And that's what I was saying about how he may perceive those comments as opposed to just, oh, this is just a byproduct of us not getting a deal done where I'm paying you handsomely.
Well, there's a difference between looking down on someone and saying, hey, this is actually a really good solution for you, right? Well, there's a difference.
I'd agree with you.
There's a difference.
No, I'd agree with you, but this is one of the reasons why. You see, I'm only speaking as men, right? Okay, I'm a multimillionaire. I've been around my friends that don't make nearly as much as me, and I'm always very cautious on how I advise them with even money. You know why? You don't know their lives. You don't know really their finances. You don't know what they got going on. And when you sometimes just impose your ideas of what they should do, could be doing, or you criticize what they are doing, that comes with a little bit of, like, it's one of those things. It's like, you know, it's one thing is pocket watching, the next thing is pocket watching and criticism.
I get it, man. And listen, Boosie, I'm sorry if it came across that way. I'm sorry, but you remember the conversation we had upstairs, you know, in your house, where I pulled out my laptop and I showed you. Like, I'm not making this up. This is some real shit. And I think that you investing in something doesn't have to be what I do, but really, you know, like I remember, it's just different mentalities when you approach money. So I remember there was like a year where we did like 4 interviews at like $20,000 an interview, and I owed him like $80,000. And I remember he used to always tell me, don't pay me now. Pay me at the end of the year, because I want to get that big amount all at once. And he used to drive my finance person crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because we had to do taxes around that and all that. But it's like, the way you approach money, like, you have to sort of learn the way money and interest and everything works. Because with me, I want my money up front so I could then invest it, and that money by the end of the year, that $20,000 might be $25,000, or it might be $30,000, it might be $40,000. I want it up front so I can make the money go to work. I got the advantage of making that money go to work before paying him. See what I'm saying? But I've always offered to pay it on day one, but he's approaching it different because he's looking at money differently than I am. And I'm just showing him what I feel is a better way to look at money, which will make him more money.
Yeah, but you have a different lifestyle, right? So
my lifestyle's not that different than Boosie's.
No, absolutely very different.
Because,
how so? Okay, this is the limited amount I know about Boosie, right? Boosie has a big family. He's constantly building stuff on his property. He seems to have lavish car collect. Like, the way how he's spending money and the things that he's investing that I don't think necessarily you would do.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It probably helps his brand. It helps his family life. So his way with money is much different than yours, where you're like, listen, I could budget out what my family needs, and everything else I could just invest and kind of sit on it for the next 5 years, right? He's probably doing a lot of things where these are active investments. Hey, listen, I got this construction crew coming in here. I got this happening here. I'm trying to build this. That's going to be worth this. And he's thinking it from a perspective of, I'm doing this, investing it and leveraging it with this Boosie brand, right? I'm also setting up like my family to potentially do X, Y, and Z, like currently, because one of the things, you know, this is the advantage you have over Boosie. And I always thought about, you know, even say me, you know, I've told people I want to be 70 years old on the mic. I'm not one of them niggas who will be like, I want to be on the beach. I want to be on the mic. Straight up. I want to be on it till I can't be on it no more.
Okay.
And because I really love this. And most rappers, like Boosie's pretty old for a rapper.
He's 43?
Okay. Is he 43? I thought it was like 45. But anyway, regardless, that relevance, we haven't seen. Yeah. We haven't seen people like get into their 50s. So like, I think Boosie has a urgency thing at the moment. Hey, right now I'm still a very valuable voice. In these next couple of years, I would think that he has like this next 5 years, he's gonna try to use his celebrity, use all these things to leverage to make the most now. And then maybe then he could possibly say, all right, you know, let's see how I can use my money in different ways where my celebrity isn't tied to it. Right now, he's a rapper, right? He's a rapper, and that's still the most of where his wealth is gonna come from. Why is he getting booked for a club? Because he's Boosie. If Boosie's 60, he can't just chill out. Like, if Boosie's 60, do they want Boosie in the club?
Probably not.
Exactly.
Unless they're doing like
so
an
time
oldies,
is
like
of the essence
oldies cruise or something like that.
Yeah, time is of the essence for him. And I think that's why he probably not only makes money different, he spends money different, but I can't judge whether it's the right way or wrong way, depending on if there's actually returns based on how he's spending it, right? Like, it looks like he's building stuff. If he was just blowing it completely, like, all right, new car every day, whatever, I would be like, yeah, that's clearly stupid. But it looks like he's, you know, obviously I think your way is a more passive way and if you ask me, a better way of making more money, but you're probably not trying to use $2 million of capital to do X, Y, and Z or 15 different things in hoping that you could, on a short run, make 3.5, and some you might lose. But I think he's playing that game, which is definitely more volatile than actually investing in, stocks that's in the S&P 500,
Well, another situation that I'm somewhat connected to is the All-Star JR NBA J. Prince Jr.
Oh, you tipped off the feds, Vlad. No. Okay, this is an interesting one.
Okay.
Right? So you, first of all, give me the clarity, because I got news that he was picked up by the federal authorities on the way to do an interview, which, by the way, he promised me an interview first. But I think he was realizing the story was getting so big, he had to say something. And, shit, if you're not sitting with me, you better be sitting with Vlad. And he never made it to the interview. What happened?
Right. So my man Mafi, who books a lot of interviews for me, was like, yo, do you want to interview All-Star JR? So we actually worked out an appearance fee. It was reasonable. It wasn't anything crazy. But, it was our own.
That's an exclusive story, though.
It is an exclusive story. But it was, it was a personal conversation. I don't come forward with numbers unless the other person does first, right? So that's our own business. So we set up the interview, and it was going to be in Detroit, right? And I was going to do it remotely. Since I'm not on camera, I occasionally try to do that, right? So we booked a studio in Detroit. We confirmed everything. Everything is cool. He's excited to do it. It's all ready to go. So the day of the interview, I said, listen, I want to get on the phone with him because I just want to go over the overall story, because I want to see what it is that he's actually going to talk about. Because is this an open case? Is this not an open case? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I want to hear from him to see what exactly is happening. So we talked. I do this a lot, right? I'll talk to the person. I say, listen, I want to have a conversation with you, but I'm not going to record it. But I just want to know kind of how to structure it when we actually do the interview. And most people are like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. So me and him had the conversation. I asked him, I said, listen, is this an open case? He goes, no, man. He goes, it's self-defense, it's standing ground, it's good. No, the law enforcement's not tripping off me. And, we had a conversation about the overall situation, and I'm not going to repeat what that is. And I've already said publicly that if the feds want to subpoena me, I'm going to say I'm pleading the fifth. I'm not going to cooperate on any level. That's between y'all. So we went over the whole story, and it's like, all right, cool. We're ready to go. Let's do this. So the interview, I think that was maybe around 12 o'clock, noon. The interview was set for 7 p.m. Detroit time, right? So 7 o'clock rolls around, studio's ready, I'm ready, everyone's ready. Where's JR? So Mafi hits me, is like, yo, he just texted me, he's running 15 minutes late. All right, cool, 7:15. 7:15 rolls around, where's he at? The studio doesn't know where he's at, he's not there, he's not answering his phone anymore. So I'm like, yo, what's going on? We get to about 8 o'clock, and I usually have like a 1 hour, grace period with people. Like if you don't show up after an hour and you're not communicating as to what's happening, then we just pack it up and we take our L. So, we get to 8 o'clock, tell the studio, hey, listen, he's not going to show up. We're still going to pay you. And that's that. Maybe about an hour after that, I get a text from Mafi. Because here's the thing, I never talked to him directly. I was talking to him through someone else. So Mafi hits me, and he was like, yo, he just texted me this, and I got picked up by the feds. And that's the whole story.
Wow.
Was I working with the feds? No, I was trying to do an interview.
Yeah, no, that would be ludicrous.
And what I said was, they're like, oh, well, how would they have known where the studio is? You tipped off the feds. He wasn't picked up at the studio.
Yeah.
He was picked up somewhere else. I don't know where he got picked up. He never made it to the studio. And I said, well, you set him up. I'm like, well, if you really think about it, if the feds wanted more information, they would have let the interview happen.
Yeah. They would have did a no jumper style information,
Yeah.
That's what they do in no jumper. They let them do the interview, a couple of them, and they'd be like, all right, now we'll use a podcast too. Okay.
The interview never happened.
Yeah.
So nothing ever got put on tape or whatever else. And he seemed like a cool ass guy. I was really looking forward to doing it. And to me, it seems like it's self-defense. And from what I understand, the only thing they really are charging him with is a felon in possession of a gun. And from what I understand, because me and 1090 Jake had a long conversation about this, from what the paperwork says, according to Jake, was that, yeah, he shot all those dudes in self-defense. And then he went to like a serving counter and he left the gun there. He didn't take the gun with him.
Yeah.
But from my point of view, listen, you're still in danger. You're still in the location where this mob of guys are attacking you, trying to rob you. So it's not like you're going to shoot one guy and then throw the gun away. Like, you know, you shot who you needed to shoot.
Yeah.
Made sure you're okay. Then you put the gun down. Then you took off. You didn't take it with you. So I'm not quite sure what the charge is unless there's something else that's like superseding that we don't know about.
Yeah, so I think I might be the only person who have spoken to both people involved in the situation.
Well, who's the other person?
Ben 10.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know.
But by the way, before you go on, me and Ben 10 talked about doing an interview.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
I was going to pitch it to you, but I was just like, I'm going to be honest with you. I hate to be people's legal advisor, but I don't want to be the alley-oop to get you locked up. Yeah, he was just like, yo, when I talked to Ben 10, he's like, yo, Ak, he's like, you know, because, you know, he was at the Youngboy tour. I saw these guys every night. Like, guy's cool as fuck, man. We was just joking on each other. He's a very funny guy. And they called me after All-Star JR and like kind of started saying aside online, they're like, this guy's lying. Right? And he's showing me all like, you know, he's like, look, there's no bullet wounds on my chest or nothing. How did I get shot 5 times? And he's like, listen.
But he's in the hospital for like 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, so that's where it gets interesting.
He said, I was grazed. Really? In the hospital for 2 weeks after you were grazed?
So he says to me, he says, listen, this guy's making money off of this shit. So I want to make money. He's like, yo, Ak, rock with you. So I'll do something with you for free, but I want to do a paid interview.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, I really don't give a fuck. I'll even interview with him. I'm like, what do you mean with him? He's like, I'll do the interview and me and this guy could be on there. And now I'm like, the whole time I'm like, now I'd heard rumors he was handcuffed. He's not handcuffed. I'm like, so I told him I would help them to get an interview, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna try my hardest to get this interview because it feels like this might be a interrogation interview. You know what I mean? This is a little bit different. Yeah. But anyway, I spoke to both guys and it was just interesting watching how a real situation that happened, the internet spin really mattered, right? Obviously, All-Star JR comes out, which I didn't know too much about him. I don't know if you knew about him before.
No, not at all.
Apparently, a lot of people know about him in Detroit.
Detroit, yeah.
You know, he's someone who survived getting shot in the face.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He got shot in the face and the neck.
Damn.
And there's old videos of his head is like super swole up. And, you know, he was on camera. He was like, yo, I'm not going to be ashamed of this or whatever. And, of course, the swelling goes down and he actually recovers. But this is a guy who he's been through some wars. And apparently has a lot of respect in Detroit. He used to be rolling with T Grizzly and them.
Yeah, he got mentioned, I think, the first day out or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And what essentially happened, and I've talked to both sides, right? And if you want me to give you a breakdown, and I'm going to try to put both sides together because when people are telling the story, they're always going to tell the favorable story and probably leave out or omit a few parts. This was a little bit of luck, but all of bad energy. Right? This guy is in this restaurant called Confessions. He's sitting down and he's eating with a young woman. Okay? He's in Houston, which there's some context to him being in Houston. He isn't getting along with a very notorious figure in Houston, J. Prince Jr.
Right.
The link there is because his baby mama is in a relationship with J. Prince Jr.
Right, which goes back years.
Yes.
Yeah.
J. Prince Jr. has taunted him over the years, basically saying, I took your girl, I upgraded her, this and third, made videos that was clearly making him seem like you're inadequate, that's why she left.
Hey man, I'm glad you left her alone. Oh, I'm glad y'all had differences. Because I'm the difference.
I've spoke to him. What he told me, he said, listen, I'm not tender over a girl. She's been with multiple people. Basketball players, rappers after me. I never.
Yeah, I heard Future.
Yeah, Future. He's like, Future was hitting it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And his demeanor is, I'm not beefing over who my baby mother is sleeping with.
Yeah.
He's like, I used to be cool with the guys that she did sleep with. Most likely. Like, I love Future, right? But they're not seeing eye to eye. He's at the restaurant with another girl. This is All-Star JR. And apparently it's NBA YoungBoy's like best friend, or people call him his brother, OG3's birthday.
Yeah, shout out to OG3. He's been on VladTV.
OG3's a really good guy.
Remember when we ran into him?
Really good
at the NBA YoungBoy show?
That's my guy.
What was the first thing he did?
Yeah, he hugged you. Yeah,
he hugged me.
Yeah. OG3 is a really good guy. It's my guy.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it's his birthday event. You know, they were at another spot before, then they get to the confession spot where they're joined by a lot of family. And the context doesn't matter. OG3 mom is there. There's kids there. You know, there's a lot of women. Why? And when I mean women, not even like women romantically involved, like aunties. You know, you have baby mamas. Like, this is not the event where you're like, let's go slide, right? This is a family, we're all out to eat type of thing. Apparently they invited a lot of people. One of the people they invited was J. Prince Jr. And he was coming from somewhere else, and he showed up fashionable, but definitely really late. And from how the story goes is that he walks off the elevator, and as he's kind of approaching the group with OG3's party, he kind of sees the guy like in the back sitting down with the girl, and he doesn't like the guy. And they start mean mugging each other.
Right. And All-Star JR like called him a bitch and some other stuff. Like
well, yes. So verbally, they also kind of get into it after they acknowledge each other's presence. And this is the kind of like the confusing part about it all. And that's why I said like bad energy a bit. OG3 and his comrades, including Ben 10 and Dead and Ron, they're like sitting there and they're kind of like, wait, what's going on? They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't really have an issue with this guy. They just think he's a random guy, right? They don't really know him like that. And they're just seeing someone who they have somewhat of a rapport with, right? Which a lot of people don't realize. So the whole thing with, because I was confused at first. Remember back in the day, because these are NBA YoungBoy homies. Back in the day, NBA YoungBoy's vehicle was like robbed by some assailants, let's just call it that. And Jay Prince showed up with the keys and the umbrella saying, hey, come get your keys and umbrella. I got it. And that was super spooky. People are like, imagine my house getting robbed and you go up online saying, hey, Ak, remember the stuff they took from your house? I got it here. I'd probably look at you like, did you send them?
Damn, I didn't know about that. So why are they even friends?
Okay. YoungBoy kind of disses the father in a song, but eventually they kind of pieced it up, I think.
Oh, yeah, with Birdman.
With Birdman.
Yeah, right.
And they kind of get to a place. Here's the thing. It was, they both camps move and operate in Houston. And cooler heads would have had to have prevailed, even though in the immediate aftermath of that, YoungBoy and his team was super upset and, was kind of combative. They had to at least get to a place of understanding because, 3 moves around Houston like a lot, right? So that's how they have pieced that up, right? And they've pieced it up where, clearly you could invite him to a birthday event, right? So they're having these words, and apparently the NBA YoungBoy, the 4K Trey guys, they're like, and this is how they described it to me, right? And I honestly believe this from the depths of my soul. Because Ben 10 told me this. Ben 10 said, listen, no one could ever send me to do anything. He said, Ak, we were with you pretty much every night at the YoungBoy tour, right? He says, you're one of YoungBoy's closest friends. He said, if we were ever backstage and we saw you having a argument with someone, you wouldn't even have to look at us twice.
So like Jim Jones.
Yes, exactly.
If they had seen that,
of course,
they would have approached Jim Jones.
Of course.
Okay.
So it's one of those situations like, and I understand that because that's kind of like the level of like loyalty I do know that YoungBoy surrounds himself with, where once they're rocking with you, it's like, and also they're firecrackers. Like, trust me, like they're not the guys who are going to be like doing too much lip service. So I think J. Prince Jr. gets into it with All-Star JR, and they're just saying, fuck it, let's go, handle whatever.
Well, although I did hear that OG3 shoved All-Star JR.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't hear that.
I heard that.
I didn't hear that. Okay.
I heard that.
So
and that was kind of the whole thing of like, and shout out to OG3, man. I'm not, me and you were cool, but I guess he posted, yo, man, we weren't on that. I was trying to de-escalate the situation, but from what I heard, he actually set it off by shoving the dude first.
Okay, see?
And with him probably being the big dog in that circle, probably, you know, second down from NBA YoungBoy, I think they all looked at him and said, oh, well, if he's on go, then we're on go.
And this is where, you know, there's a little bit of a telephone. I've spoken to both. I spoke to 3. Yeah. 3 was in the hospital with 10. I spoke to 3, 10, and I spoke to JR, right? 3 told me, listen, when it gets to a certain point, I can't stop the dogs. And I understand that, whereas like when you're with certain type of like really rowdy type of guys, if it gets to a certain point, they're not looking at you like press the button. They're just jumping off the ledge. And, you know, so you've heard a little bit different.
Yeah.
You've heard a little bit different.
I disagree with narratives like that. I feel like if you have people with you that you can't have any sort of control over, then you shouldn't be with those people, man.
Oh, no, I understand that type of
like
thing.
You wouldn't see none of my people rush someone and I can't just do anything about it. Like,
yo, did you go to the NBA? Well, you went to the NBA YoungBoy tour.
Yeah, I was there.
Man, some of them niggas back there, like you could tell. If shit started,
I got you. I feel you.
Those are the guys you got to keep at arm's distance when you need to have that type of discernment, right? The discernment where like you could control the dogs, you don't bring them. Anyway, so so all that starts, right? And you know, they start giving this guy a beating while it's being like damn near supervised by Jay Prince Jr. And there's actually a funny moment on the video where 3 is seemingly about to jump in on the fan recorded video. And someone pulls him, and he told me, he said, that's my mom. Said, my mom pulled me, like, and you know, I know he addressed with me, he was like, yo, he wanted people to know, he's like, I would never run on anyone, because that's what All-Star JR said. He said, listen, when the first type of thing happened, I started getting the females out of there. I started getting Ben 10's daughter out of there. I got my mother out of there. Listen, we got a lot of dudes up in there. Let me get the females. If this is about to go left, let me get the people who we care about. And you know, again, I know you hear that he pushed someone. He doubled down to me saying that was not what they were trying to do. But whatever. So that happens. They start beating the guy up, and
they're like taking his chain, or they're trying to take his jewelry. So they're trying to beat him up and rob him at the same time.
Which this is the bizarre part about it. So from what I hear, by the time the gun is on the ground and then seen by All-Star JR that he picks up to start shooting, he doesn't have chains on. They already took his chain and his watch. At this point, they're just giving him an ass whipping, which is interesting because he doesn't even have any scars, but still, they're already stole or robbed him for whatever he had, and they kept going. And some way, by the grace of God, I guess for him, he sees that there's a gun dropped in. I think if you actually hear the video, you could hear somebody mention that there was a gun that fell. And he picked up the gun and he instantly just started firing. Instantly.
As he should.
I mean, this is gonna sound crazy, you know, and I hope he doesn't get mad at me for admitting this. Talking to 3 said, that nigga ain't do nothing he ain't supposed to do. He looked at it and he could, being in that situation, he wasn't like, nah, why did he do it? No, he kept it. He said, listen, we can't say he did no wrong. And I hope, you know, if that's still his mentality, that this doesn't turn into other things. Because, you know, after you realize that was a really fucked up bad situation, you know, sometimes these things could start eventual degenerating wars and where people get hurt later on and it's revenge. Or you could be like, you know what? This shit should have never happened. And for whatever happened, we got to leave it there, right? That's what I'm hoping that statement meant for me. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, 100%. So the guy shoots, which this is what was not told to me. So the guy shoots Ben 10 immediately. When he grabs the gun and he starts shooting, they turn their back, he shoots Ben 10 supposedly like in the neck spinal area. Then
is Ben 10 the one that's paralyzed, like his legs?
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Now, I spoke to him. He never confirmed any of that.
But in the police report, they say that one of the victims can't feel his legs.
They said as of April, I believe, 13th. It's been 2 weeks since they last checked. I don't know if maybe the feelings come back. Ben 10 did tell me, he said, Ak, when I got to the hospital, because I said, where did all these rumors come that you're on life support or this or blood transfusions or whatever? And he said, Ak, the only thing that happened, and by the way, his nurse was in the room, and he gave permission to his nurse to either confirm or deny whatever we were talking about. And it says he did go into shock when he got brought to the hospital. So he went into shock, but he was never on life support. And you know, I do see people, because I did kind of give a little bit of his side to the public. People are like, well, he lied to you. Well, we never actually directly addressed the issue of can you walk? And I would imagine that right now, he probably isn't in the mindset that he's paralyzed. He's probably in the mindset that he's going to go through physical therapy and be able to walk again. So, you know, that's kind of where that's at. But, you know, I think it's by the grace of God that he didn't die.
Oh, yeah. But he might end up in a wheelchair. Deadhead Ron got his finger blown off.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, there was like 6 people shot.
Yeah, there's some other people that got shot as well.
Yeah.
There were 10 bullets in the gun, Glock 43X, and all 10 bullets went out. And this is what I was trying to say is by the grace of God. I know, you know, even if he can't walk at this moment, 10, he's in the hospital, he's still alive. I talked to him, he's jovial, you know, as much as you could be. He did confirm, and I mean, the photos confirm now. All-Star JR stood over him, pointed the gun directly at his face, trying to end him. And it was out of bullets. That's God.
Didn't he say, though, that JR never stood over him? And then the picture came out of JR standing over him?
I don't know if he said, he admitted to me, he's like, no, he did stand over me, but yeah, he ran out of bullets.
Yeah, listen, it's a fucked up situation.
That's what happened with Lil Tim, by the way.
Lil Tim?
When Lil Tim shot Vaughn, one of Vaughn guys, after they shot Tim and Tim fell, he stood over Tim trying to execute Tim, and the gun jammed.
Was that O-Block Louie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, who's you know, passed away at this point.
Yeah.
But he didn't admit to it.
When you think about those scenarios, I hate to have to just say, like, it's God, because these are such violent situations, but what else could explain that?
Being out of bullets.
Yeah, but being out of bullets at the point where he needs one more to execute you. He's already shot up like the whole spot.
10. That's what happens. I mean, listen, me and you could differ about God and all that. You know, I've had conversations with this. But, you know, listen, it's a messed up situation. And All-Star JR being locked up is fucked up. I hope he beats it. You know, they're saying that maximum he might get like 4 or 5 years, but there's a certain amount of leniency when it comes to the situation.
He's not getting any time for that.
You think he's going to beat it? That's great.
I don't even think he's going to get indicted for it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I hope he beats it. I hope he beats it. You know, this guy named Cartel Bo says that this whole situation will trickle down to J. Prince Jr. and the RICO case and stuff like that. I don't know about that. This seems like a random, you know, yeah, there was some beef between them over a baby mother, but this does not seem like a RICO kind of thing.
Well, you never know what a RICO kind of thing is.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the RICO would be them thinking that J. Prince Jr. is engaged in a pattern of violence and behavior that are resulting in people getting killed and severely injured. And it's based on, you know, racketeering, which is, you know, or RICO is the ultimate conspiracy charge that is usually aimed at the person who we never see doing the crime, right? The reason why you charge somebody with a RICO is because you think that they're the person that's paying for the, you know, they got the soldiers, right?
Yeah.
So you know how you get them? You hit them with a RICO. So again, when people hear about all this mythical stuff when it comes to the Prince family, and they feel like they're ordering murderers and they could tell they have an army of dudes that could do X, Y, and Z. And also, I think Cartel Bo, I didn't know he said that. Actually, I posted it, but I didn't watch the full video. Here's the ironic thing about him saying that. Well, remember, there's been long-standing rumors that the feds have been trying to investigate J. Prince, right, the senior.
Well, it's not rumors. They've been investigating.
Okay,
He's been investigating since the Ghetto Boys days.
Okay,
Yeah.
he admitted it in his book and everything. You're right.
Yeah.
But remember this, when 6ix9ine went to Texas to do a concert, the World Star concert, where J. Prince Jr. and his mob-type cronies got it shut down, what actually happened is that he marched up there with a bunch of, you know, seemingly guys under his control that people would consider goons. Cartel Bo was one of those people. He's the big guy in the video.
Oh.
So if he's saying that, it now makes you think, if he's alluding to a RICO, maybe the police, and again, the police might just be waiting on, hey, we need much more to connect this guy to. By the way, and the last thing, if we're talking about the charge for All-Star JR, right? I don't think he'll be indicted, right? This is going to go away. I think this is either going to get dismissed or get superseded into something else. I heard he did have a warrant, supposedly. So these might be aggravating factors. But I think this complaint was to put him in custody. According to what I've heard, he not only left confessions, he hopped in a white Escalade and he left the scene. He hasn't spoke to police, but has been making diss songs online. They wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
And they couldn't talk to him in Texas. He left the state. So now, if...
Oh, that's how it became federal?
Well,
okay.
Yeah, he left the state. No. They said technically it's federal, not because he left the state. It's because the Glock 43X is actually registered and is registered in a different state, or it originated from a different state and it got brought into that state.
Right,
so
but he didn't bring it.
It doesn't matter. But it's federal as long as the crime, the gun is part of the crime. The gun was brought. So it's these technicalities.
They're grasping the strings.
Yeah. But here's the point. They want to talk to him. So now they lock him up in Detroit. They're going to send him all the way to Texas. And obviously there's going to be two questions. You know, we're in the age of the Gucci Man era now. It's like, hey, are you going to tell them that you were getting robbed? Or you're going to say, maybe you could say something innocuous like, well, yeah, I was getting robbed, but I don't know who was robbing me. I don't remember. I got hit so many times. I have amnesia. Well, what about this? What about the diss song that you dropped when you said, do the Ben 10? It's like, maybe that was maybe you could get around that. But I think, you know, the feds are clearly trying to, this is an open shut self-defense case.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that they're pressing this guy. You're already a felon. They may have some other stuff on you. They're going to try to squeeze him to get whatever they want on Ben 10, which this is why I think this story is going to just disappear from public view. If any type of paid attorney is there, no one should be speaking about this.
Well, yeah. Well, me and Ben 10, we texted. Right, because he's like, I want to do a paid interview. So and everyone's tagging me, of course, in it.
Yeah, you're the guy, Vlad.
I'm that guy. So I DM'd him. I sent him my number. We texted, and I'm like, he's like, how much you offer? I'm like, how much you want? Let's just see if it's in the ballpark. He said, 50,000. I said, well, this is not really worth the conversation. You know, so I'm just going to let that go. Because here's the thing. At the same time that I'm talking to him, I already got the All-Star JR interview set up. So I'm like, well, the shooter is wanting an amount that's very doable. The victim is wanting a ridiculous amount. I'm going to go with the shooter.
Yeah.
Right?
You could have made a counter offer though.
Yeah, but I was already about to interview the shooter. So that conversation was sort of after the fact.
Yeah.
But then the JR interview didn't happen, and I just kind of didn't revisit the JR, you know, the Ben 10 thing. And I don't know, like once JR got arrested, I also didn't really want to interview Ben 10 because now I'm like, oh, well, this is about to be Exhibit A.
Of course.
Right? And you know me, I don't really like to be, as much as people call me the feds and the police, I try not to be in these situations. You know, and I even told, you know, when I talked to All-Star JR, I'm like, are you sure you want to do this? You know, because I don't know if this is an open case or not. And he was like, no, I'm good.
I asked him the same thing, but for a different reason. I'm like, you do know after you have flaunted and gloated about how you shot this guy, we've seen this before, actually on your platform with BTB Savage. It ended up with people saying, we got to kill this guy.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, you know, and from what I heard from him, it was just, you know, you hear the same rapper thing, I'm built different.
Well, yeah. And the thing that I think was the final straw for BTB Savage was he posted a picture of himself at the crime scene.
Oh, yeah, no, that was the worst.
Surrounded by blood, flaunting his jewelry.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the VladTV interview.
No. I'm saying All-Star JR has already been doing that.
Yeah.
Doing the Ben 10 challenge. Like when he's on the floor shaking, I'm like, okay, a VladTV interview is not going to be as disrespectful as what he's doing right now. Like this is ridiculous what he's doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no. By the way, not only did he, he was trying his best. Like, if you listen to the song, he was praying that they died. Like, he was like, yeah, I'm 2-0. Like, he was praying that they died.
Yeah.
He said, I kick. It's even right in the complaint. He says after he couldn't shoot him anymore, he spits on Ben 10 and kicks the shit out of him, out of pure frustration.
But do you blame him?
No, I'm not saying I blame him, right? You know what I mean? And I think that's what I'm saying. Even they kind of look at it to be like, hey, listen, obviously they didn't want to be on the wrong side of the fucking gun, but like, it's not like they could. What they told me specifically, they said, it's not like we got issues with what the dude did, which he shot people. They didn't like the fact that he was online mischaracterizing the actual altercation, which they had several gripes. We're not some boys that get sent off by Jay Prince, okay? And number 2, you didn't shoot me 5 times. You're like making stuff up. And you're adding on to like this image to make yourself seem like you're this really evil, like, whatever, street dude, when that's just not the reality. And if you told the truth, it is what it is.
Yeah, but
and that's why Ben 10 was saying
is that he took their gun and shot a whole bunch of them. Like, okay, if you put a little bit of extra sauce on it, it doesn't take away from the main point. It's not like, yo, man, this guy shot in the air and he's trying to say he shot 5 of us. No, he actually shot like, from what I heard, it was like 6 of them. Seriously.
The according to the information in the complaint, it said 3.
Right.
It said,
but they may not have. Some of them may not have.
A lot of people scattered. A lot of people scattered.
They took off. They didn't go to the hospital. Maybe went to someone to get the bullet. Maybe it was just a graze. I don't fucking know. But I heard it was like 6. Either way, even 3 is insane.
Yeah. No.
Like you don't. Whatever's extra sauce. You have a problem with the extra sauce? 3 of y'all got shot with your own gun. Yeah. With your own gun. I don't think there's really a way to paint this that makes the NBA guys look better on any level. There really isn't. And listen, shout out to OG3. We hugged it out when we saw each other. But listen, like he said, you walk into a situation like this, you got to know what's coming with it. Not everyone's a pussy, right? Not everyone's pussy. We saw that with the King Von situation.
Yeah, no.
Not everyone's pussy. Not everyone's gonna pretend, and not shoot.
But like this, it's a I hate to say it, it's a very interesting situation, but also it's hard to think logically when you know the people, though.
Yeah,
because you kind of have you're rooting for certain people, I think.
Yeah, but
that's you in the Tax Stone thing.
Yeah,
Tax.
No, I get
Tax Stone brings a gun into a place that shouldn't have a gun. Yes, he gets jumped. But then...
And pistol whipped.
Well, I didn't hear that.
No, he got pistol whipped.
With whose gun? I thought he was the only one with the gun.
I think, no, because remember he saw Troy Ave with the gun at one point. Shooting at him.
No, he was shooting at him with his own gun.
That's what I'm saying. So I think maybe...
No, but that's the thing.
The gun got loose and Tax Stone got pistol whipped. I know that for... Okay. Tax Stone told me he got pistol whipped.
I hear what you're saying, but to go back to how we're viewing this situation... If Tax Stone loses his gun, whatever happens to Tax Stone with his own gun is like All-Star JR doing whatever he did.
And I get it. If Tax Stone got shot with his own gun, I've been like, Tax, you brought that gun in there.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So
I'll keep it 100. I'll be like, listen, like you can't get upset over what they did. You brought the gun. They managed to take the gun from you and so forth. Someone died in the process, but it is what it is. By the way, before I go on to my next topic, you had brought up Offset. Mm-hmm. Me and Offset actually DM'd each other for the first time, I think, ever. We've done interviews together. But,
okay.
And we saw each other at the NBA Youngboy show.
Yeah.
But what had happened was I had told a story on in one of my interviews because I had a celebrity outreach guy at AP, Audemars Piguet, and I was supposed to get some watches because certain watches you need a connection in order to get.
Yeah.
And then he ended up getting fired. And someone at AP told me that the reason why he got fired was that he had sold Offset a couple of really high-end watches. And the thing is that when you sell these watches, you're not supposed to resell them. And he ended up reselling them, and the guy got fired.
Wow.
And I retold the story, and I think Poetic Flacco, like, posted it, and I made a comment about it, and he hit me out of the blue. He's like, yo, man, stop talking about me on small blogs. And I'm like, small blogs? What are you talking about? And he posted that. I'm like, oh, yeah, but this story was told to me by someone at AP. He goes, bro, I never bought any watches from AP. And I'm like, all right, well, if you're denying it, I'm going to stop talking about it. Right? Do you know more to the story?
You know what?
You know more to the story?
No, I don't know. Like, put it like this, you know, man.
Well, let me just finish because there's more to this, right? So I'm like, okay, that's cool, man. Listen, maybe I got the wrong info, but if you're denying it, I'm not going to call you a liar. I said, that's cool. I'll stop talking about it. But while we're on the phone, while we're on DM, like, what do we, let's do an interview. It's been some years. He's like, 200,000. I said, come on, fam. No one on earth is going to pay you that. He said, I'll go as low as 150. And I'm like, fam, I'll give you 10.
Yo, stop it.
What I was going to do, like I was going to joke around, but I didn't really want to play with him like that. But, you know, so I said, what I was thinking was like, yo, you can pay back Lil TJ with this 10 I'm about to get you, right?
Man,
I didn't want to say that because, you know, he got shot, so I didn't want to mock him or whatever else. But he's like, no, man, that's a hard pass. I'm not one of these little rappers. I'm good. And I'm like, all right. He's like, yo, man, I just turned out CNN. I said, CNN ain't paying you anything. So I don't know how the comparison is, but yeah, we stopped at 150. And I don't usually bring up conversations like this, but this was just like a ridiculous, you know, conversation. I don't think he was expecting that type of money. Yeah. And, you know, but these are the kind of conversations I have sometimes offline with rappers. Like 150,000, really? Like, okay.
The thing with Offset, and this is like the difficult part, is getting to, like, we're starting to, and this is what I was saying about like maybe his perceived wealth or whatever. We're starting to hear things that we don't know what's true and what's not. And, you know, if he did come out and say, oh, that's not true, or, hey, I settled this debt, we're kind of inclined to be like, did you really? And that's the thing that kind of turns into a reputation. Like, you know, from the casino video, you then see another casino say, hey, he owes us 100,000. And it paints a picture.
Detroit casino is suing him for 100,000.
Yeah, I'm very confident. Like, you know, I hear about the money offered. Yo, what nobody knows, I was trying to get Offset a gambling deal.
Okay.
A very lucrative one. I just don't want to say the numbers, but millions. And, you know, he might get mad at me for even this story, but like I think the story makes him kind of look good. I just think he wasn't that generally interested in the type of gambling it was going to be because it was like online gambling. And essentially, I think Offset is getting so much money. They were, and I even told him this directly. I told him on tour. I said, yo, bro, they just want you to make an account. They're going to just throw like 40, 50,000 in there that you could just fuck around to just, you know, try out the site. Like $40,000, $50,000 to try out the gambling site. We didn't get to a deal yet. And just never did it. Like, he was like, I could tell he just didn't care that much to do it. And that's not someone who's like, you know, because I think when people hear like, oh, he borrowed 10K, what I think those things are is, yo, he just needs some cash in the moment because he feels like he's about to like turn something back around. I don't think that's him actually being insolvent. But, you know, again, we hear all these things, that watch thing, you know, I don't hear stuff like that with Offset. I got to be honest, I don't. That's like that was like a Sean Kingston special, what you just said. Like, with all due respect.
No, he didn't steal the watches.
Sean Kingston steals? No, he doesn't. No, he just finesses it.
Right, that's stealing.
Yeah, no, but what's different was like,
Sean Kingston would take watches.
All right, that's like a Antonio Brown special.
Right. Well, Antonio Brown sold fake Richard Mills. And we talked about this on camera. He actually had some Richard Mills he claimed he got from Floyd Mayweather, and he sold them to someone else, and they ended up being fake. And he got sued, and he lost. Were the watches fake?
The watch was fake. It was from Jonah. With Jonah, I mean, I gave him 200,000. He's showing me these watches. That's why I was posting all the information online to show who these guys was. I gave him the loan for 200. He gonna give me 260. The collateral of these watches. He tell me out the blue these watches is somebody watches. I won't say their names. He said, yo, they did the money for us, a pawn deal. Him and Floyd do this all the time. I'm like, cool. I tell you, I get the check from Jonah that say $260,000, that's dated August 6th when the due date was supposed to come for the watches. I ended up taking the watches as collateral because the lady in the bank was like, Jonah don't got $260 in there right now. So we keep the watches for collateral. I get on the plane at the end of the night with Ryan King. Yo, AB, why we here so late? Man, I had to check on my deal with Ryan King. I had to make sure I get the check. I show him the watches. He like, yo, I want to buy Richard Mille, woo, woo. So I'm like, well, yeah, you really want to buy the watch? Okay, cool. He come over after the show, we do Rolling Loud. He called his jeweler, woo, woo. Yo, he said the watch official, he bought a watch. You know what I'm saying? This in July. October when they come out, Vlad. So now he go buy the watch. Jonah don't give me my check back in time. He paid me later. And then come to find out, he go take the guy Ryan King to meet Floyd. He paid to meet Floyd. They take a picture. They sit down together and say, yo, AB gave you that watch? That was my watch. That's a fake watch.
Sean Kingston, and listen, this happens to me, right? You know what jewelers I deal with? I could take a watch and not pay for it because they know I'm good for it, right? Just try it out. If you don't like it, bring it back. Don't worry about it. We got you, right? Or I'm going to send it to you now, pay me later.
Yeah.
So he was doing that and then changing his number. That's Sean Kingston. That's why he's in prison right now, partially.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten sentenced yet, but he's at the crib.
He's on his way. He's not going to. His mom's already in prison.
His mom's in prison?
The story, yeah, I believe so, yeah. Absolutely. The story with Offset was that, and like I said, he's denying it, so I'm not.
These are bad names to be associated with, you know? Like, that's why I feel bad. But like, again.
No, I was just going to say, the story with Offset wasn't that he stole the watches, was that when certain brands give you a watch, allow you to buy a watch, you could go across the street and get double or triple the price. So they don't want to sell it to you for you just to do that. They want to sell it to you for you to keep it. And what I was told was they sold him these two watches. He raps about it. White ceramic AP, black ceramic AP, that's $800 a piece. The retail is like $400 on them. So the story that I was told, which he said isn't true, and that's fine. It's, you know, if he says it's not true, it's not true, was that he got these two watches for $400,000 each. And since he's married to Cardi B, they trusted him and whatever else. And he turned around and flipped them for $800 each. And then the guy lost the job. But he said it's not true. So I don't know. Maybe it's not true.
Hey, listen, if anything, maybe this will help my relationship with Offset. I'm here to announce to the world, Offset is not broke and he's still up a lot. And I'll tell you this, for the people who said, because you saw them trying to do the narrative of, oh, maybe Cardi B was buying her own bags, and then he kind of came out and was like, yo, I spent $12 million on her. I spoke to Cardi many times about, like, you know, when she would just speak about, like, whatever she was going through with him. And she always told me in private, Offset always spent the bag on her. She said, one thing about that nigga Offset, he gonna spend the bag on his chick.
What about this whole thing of, you know, after the shooting, all these people came forward and said, yeah, he bet me and he never paid me. And remember the whole little TJ thing was he said, get it back in blood.
He's like an Atlanta nigga. Like a lot of these Atlanta niggas don't pay people back. You shouldn't even roll dice to them. Rolling dice in Atlanta or Houston is like, yo, you're either not gonna get paid or you're gonna end up in a morgue. You know what I mean? Like, it just is what it is. Like, certain Offset's a guy, let me tell you, and you know, I have a whole theory behind, like, I think why even that Offset thing happened with TJ. It's like, it's one thing if somebody
TJ right
says,
afterwards, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Well, it was before, actually. But he had
that was
spoken
before?
about, yeah, it was before.
Oh, but he came out after.
Yeah, it came out after.
Oh, I assumed it was after.
He came out after, yeah. But I asked him about it, but I could tell he was super salty about it. Offset is the type of guy I could tell. Like, he's thinking, I want to paint a picture for the fans' minds. Offset has probably made like $100 million.
Altogether? Okay, yeah.
Remember, he's 1/3,
the
you know,
Migos.
rest in peace to Takeoff.
Yeah.
They have made, let's say they've probably made $300 million throughout their whole career.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Offset is one of those guys who spends money really quickly, gets money really quickly. Just look at all his ventures. I think that's even part of the reason why he even went solo. He's not a guy who, remember there was a time that QC was only focused on Lil Baby, like he was their only artist. And he said, fuck that. I remember talking to him during that time, and he said, you know what? He said, I got to get up and go do some shit. He called her his B. his chick Cardi B is making all this money. Like, you know, it's not a competition, but it's like your girl is doing well, you can't just be chilling.
Yeah.
Right? And he's always made a lot of money. For whatever reason, when it comes to gambling, it comes across like he doesn't have it. But I think he kind of looks at it and be like, yo, like whenever like we're at the same place, I'll hit you with the 10K, but it's not that serious. That's what he's thinking. It's just not that serious. And I think he doesn't realize that some people, especially a dude from New York, it could have been $10. I'm like, well, yo, $10, I think TJ's doing the same thing.
Okay, so me and Whack 100 did an interview
Yeah.
recently about the Offset 42 Doug situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I brought it up to 42 Doug, and I guess for the first time on camera, he didn't admit that something
I like
happened.
that interview, by the way.
Was that?
I like that interview. I never thought in a million years 42 Doug would be that open with you.
Well, it's my job.
I like it.
I get people open. You know, no Diddy. So he said that, yeah, they tried me, but they didn't rob me.
Like, you ain't take nothing from me. You know, but, you know, it is what it is, you know. Whack 100, just flat out lied.
Right. You said they tried me, but my mom could die if I'm lying. Nobody took a dime from me.
Not a dime.
He said Whack 100 is lame for turning them
I
up.
got paid, actually.
So then when I had Whack 100 on, because Whack was like, yo, man, I was there. Like, I'm like, cool, next interview, we'll bring it up. So Whack described the situation. So I guess when you're rolling dice outside of casinos, like in the street, in the studio, whatever, there's a specific rule, meaning that if the other person is rolling, unless you're dead broke, you can't take your money back.
You can't just stop.
You
basically.
can't stop them. If they're rolling, you got to keep that money there until they bust out. So I guess 42 Doug was up a certain amount of money, I think like 30,000 or whatever. It was Offset's turn to roll. He rolled like a couple times, and then 42 Doug grabbed the money and walked off. And I guess that's the violation right there.
Yeah.
So I guess Offset, oh, this dude think I'm pussy. So as he's walking off, I guess he like grabbed for his pocket because all the money was shoved into like his jeans. He grabbed his pocket and tried to like rip the money off, but it just spun him around. And then at that point, everything went crazy. People started pulling out guns, whatever. And Wax said that he managed to get 42 Doug up out of there before things went worse with the money still on him. So yeah, Offset actually didn't rob him for the money, but he felt like he wasn't allowed to take the money at that point.
Offset get the dice. Offset 5 a hand, right? Because they had broke it down to maybe 2-3 grand. Fuck it, Offset hit, bam. 5 another hand, bam. He hit him 10,000 back that quick. What we doing, 5 of them? You want to double or nothing? 42 Doug picks his money up off the ground. The rule of the dice, you can't pick the money up off the ground and leave unless you have the dice. It's Offset's dice. 42 picks the money up off the ground. He's still about 10,000 in the Offset and walks out.
I've never heard of these rules. Have you?
I don't gamble with Negroes outside casinos. Period.
Right. So that's the overall story. So, you know, Offset did try him, did try to get the money back. And I think, you know, Doug probably understood that he probably should give him his money back, or what he's doing is a little bit underhanded.
He gave it back?
No.
Okay.
Because at that point now guns are being pulled out, and I guess when he tried to leave, like in that studio, that gate doesn't open when you pull up to it. Someone actually has to press a button and let you out. So he was basically stuck in there with Offset and his crew, and it's about to get ugly.
Yeah, nice. It's interesting.
Blueface was there too, by the way. Blueface got knocked out early in terms of his money. Not physically knocked out.
Yeah.
You know, he basically got all his money got taken. He went to like Whack, and he was like, yo, man, let me borrow 10K. And Whack was like, no. These guys are professionals. You cannot hang with these guys.
Yeah, you don't roll dice with nobody.
Later.
Yeah, you don't roll dice with nobody from Houston or Atlanta, man. Come on, man.
Well,
like
Detroit.
Shit. Well, if you're in Houston or Atlanta, like, don't think you're gonna win.
Yeah.
And obviously, Detroit, we now know there's some grimy niggas too. So yeah, I look at this Offset situation, and I kind of look at it, and I'm like, man, he doesn't know how to shape the narrative. There's so many people who do gamble, and they're just not seen as degenerates. You know, like, bro, why not get? If I say, Vlad, yo, you got $200, I'm trying to get this, and you give me the 200. If just out of common sense, I'll know if you're pressed for it. And not that you're broke and you want it back, but I know you're the guy who's like, yo, remember I gave you the 200. If I see you kind of subtly bring it up a couple times, I'm gonna get you paid really quickly. I don't want a motherfucker just on my line, like, you know what I mean, just kind of every time he's looking at me, I'm like, the 200's floating the top of his mind. I don't know why Offset, and I never got an answer. I've spoke to him. I don't know why he just never just paid the guy back. You know what I mean? I think it quickly went to egos on some, all right, well, fuck you, you're not getting it at all then. But, like, that to me, that's unnecessary.
Man, listen, one thing I've learned in life, just pay people and pay them on time. Right? All my staff. Right? Have you ever had a paycheck late? No. How long you been here?
4 years.
4 years. Not a single paycheck late. Whenever anyone's had a late paycheck, it's because something on their end got messed up. They changed addresses or they gave the wrong account number or whatever else. I have never, look, 4 years, I've never paid anyone late. I've never paid, you know, when we talk about the Ari situation or the Boosie situations, now they can complain, oh, I deserve more, but they can never say, hey, and Vlad, don't pay me on time. And I'm still owed for my last interview. You've never heard that. So why even do that? Now you got shot. Over what? Not paying someone that you owe? Stupid. Yeah. It's stupid.
I did have a good conversation with him afterwards. And the conversation, you know, while, you know, I think there's a lot there with me and him, but what I was trying to tell him, I'm like, hey, listen, you're putting yourself in avoidable situations. It's not about you being in the casino. We're not telling, if you want to spend all your money doing anything, tricking, whatever, you can't. We're just saying you are a legendary rapper. You should have at least some protection around you. You should have people, like, the story goes that basically a fan jumped in.
Oh, the guy DM me. The guy that knocked out little TJ, I guess, DM me.
Yeah, he knocked out somebody on their team, I believe.
I don't think he was even part of Offset team. I think he was
just a fan. Yeah,
just a fan that knocked out TJ on the situation.
And that becomes a situation where it's like, you know, I was telling him, like, yo, you're leaving yourself open to these situations, and we're just seeing with this Ben 10 thing. You know, I'm surprised when I'm watching these guys getting shot, and they're like 2 days later, hey, I'm out of the hospital. Like, the dude showed up and performed 4 days later.
Think about this.
Like,
hold on. Think about this for 1 second, right? I was thinking about it when you were saying it. Let's just say that instead of Offset getting shot in the leg, he got killed. That would be 2/3 of the Migos would have died over gambling.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy when you think about it? One group, well, 2/3 of the members gone over the same activity.
Well, if you think about it,
which is not supposed to be a deadly activity, by the way. This is not playing Russian roulette or something.
No, it is a deadly activity. Gambling is a deadly activity.
Well, if you do it outside a casino, yeah.
Well, that's how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you remember the Takeoff thing, remember Quavo gets in an argument with a gentleman out there where they're arguing over dice.
Yeah.
First, and then he brings it to basketball. And what happens is someone is along with Quavo, who is, you know, a guy who takes out a gun.
Well, his security.
Yeah, and has it in his hand,
right.
And then supposedly,
which is crazy, fucking crazy.
And it's such
Why
a crowded area.
Why the fuck are you pulling out a gun if you're not shooting anybody?
And supposedly,
all you do is escalating the fucking situation. That dude is an idiot, honestly. I don't know who he is, but he's a fucking idiot. I feel that he's responsible for Takeoff dying, partially.
Well, here's the thing. He didn't get charged. And you're making a point that J. Prince Sr. and Jr. are making. They feel like, and that's why, you know, the guy just started, you know, the trial just started, right?
For the guy that killed Takeoff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
His name is DJ Pat. By the way, he just graduated college too, or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's going to go on trial, and most people in Houston, and you know, it rubs people in hip hop the wrong way because we love Takeoff. But if you go by the letter of the law, the way how it looks is that he pulled his firearm in response to seeing a violent incident happen, and you know what they say is usually who started the violence, that if someone later fired a bullet and it hits an unintended target, usually you blame that person.
Yeah.
So they feel like this guy might actually beat it. So there's so many people who love Takeoff that we might end up with a situation just like how we've seen with Lil Tim, where there is no justice, where they're not like, this guy's guilty for murder, because he has a decent case of saying, well, you know why this happened? This occurred because someone else introduced a gun and started the violence first. So, again, it is eerily, concerning that 2 issues that's led to gunshots have to do with gambling, and all 3 members were involved.
Yeah, man, it's sad. It's sad. And I hope ultimately, listen, at this point, Takeoff is gone and DJ Pat is going to have to go through the trial, and we'll ultimately see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, Gucci and Pooh Shiesty. Did you see my interview with the lawyer?
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Why is that?
I don't know why he did it.
This was Big 30's lawyer.
Yeah, I don't know why he did it.
Yeah, when I found out that was his lawyer, I DM'd him, and I realized we had actually talked before. And I'm like, listen, do you want to do the interview? He goes, well, I got a bond hearing, and afterwards I'll come. I was like, cool, let's do it.
That was ridiculous.
On whose part?
His.
Why is that?
Because his interview, again, obviously it's not in the court of law, but it felt like it was testifying in certain senses. Like he was, I like what Bradford Cohen, who's Pooh Shiesty's lawyer, I like what he said. He did an interview with Law and Crimes, and he was, he made no assertions and he made no confirmations, which means, hey, was there a contract conversation happening at the studio? Well, I don't know. It's for them to prove that. Yeah. This guy, he came with the whole thing. He was just like, yeah, nah, they were beefing. Oh yeah, like he was like confirming things at the police.
But who the lawyer said they were beefing?
The lawyer you interviewed basically confirmed that there
Arthur
was...
Horn.
Huh?
Arthur Horn is his name.
Yes, Arthur Horn. He confirmed that there was some type of turbulence already existing between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci.
I can comment on the fact that I believe that while Pooh Shiesty was locked up, he didn't receive any funds from Gucci Mane, and his music was still making money. And if there was a debt owed to Pooh Shiesty, I believe there was a debt owed to Pooh Shiesty.
Now, even if he's just reading that from a complaint, you're the guy's attorney. These are allegations not only against Pooh Shiesty, against your client. The interview, I think lawyers now do interviews to try to also sway public perception, because that's the only way. Like, why else? Other than they're trying to advertise their services. And I watched that and I was just like, yeah, I don't think this swayed me to think that there's a lot of smoke. Let's see if they're going to find the fire. So I didn't think it was the best interview, but it was super thorough. Maybe he's a good attorney, well-spoken, but he gave me the Mark Agnifilo effect, where Mark Agnifilo, which by the way, he's the one who won the case of Diddy, so I'm not saying he's a bad attorney, right? Mark Agnifilo, he came out and he was on a documentary with TMZ saying, yeah, he probably got all the baby oil from Costco. Costco puts out a statement, yo, he ain't getting none of them shits from us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but it helps public perception. In the time where Diddy needs to get painted as this super perverted person, you give some explanation of where he's getting these items that everybody's saying, that seems odd, and everybody else is saying, no, that's not normal, or that's not from us. It goes against what should be your intended goal for the interview. So I kind of watched it, and I didn't like his interview as much because I couldn't tell the value that could be taken from that could help even perception of Big 30.
Well, I think he's in a tough place. I think that you have all these witnesses, including Gucci Mane.
Who do you think is in a tough place?
I think the lawyer is. Because he has
No, he's not. Just don't talk to the media. If you don't got nothing to say, don't talk.
No, what I'm saying is defending his client is going to be tough.
No, I don't think so.
Big 30?
Shit, how is it? So you lay it out to me how you think that. I think this is actually a pretty easy case.
Well, easy to beat?
Yes.
You think that Big 30 and Pooh Shiesty are going to walk away from this?
again, there's going to be some violations for Pooh's going to sit down regardless. I don't see Big 30 going to jail for any significant period of time, honestly.
Really?
And by the way, he's on bond already, so, you know.
I mean, the complaint said that he brought the guns, that he held the door shut and wouldn't let the off-duty police officer in. He was part of the kidnapping, according to the complaint.
To me, the entire thing is weak because you're relying on just the victims and the witnesses, and it's already kind of seen that they might not be keeping. If they were like a bunch of Meg Thee Stallions, I'd be like, yo, you're cooked. Like, it's 3 dudes. Like, I know Gucci's making songs, but is Gucci gonna take the stand? Like, he's. If these guys were such great witnesses, they took 4 months to not even indict, to file the criminal complaint. They talked to Dallas PD that day when it happened, and they haven't talked to the feds in 4 months. And the only evidence that could convict them are the witnesses. They got no cameras, they don't find no guns, they don't got the stolen items, where's the contract? It's all, the story sounds great. By the way, we believe the story. We know Shiesty's like that. We know Shiesty probably had Gucci like crying like a girl. We know it. But it's not about what you know, it's about what you could fucking prove. And what we could prove is gonna be on the 3 individuals that have to express. Remember, Dallas PD investigated this as a robbery. The feds take it and turn it into a conspiracy of kidnapping. They can't find the stuff that was robbed. That's not included.
Right. Although the other guys were on social media showing off the watches and all that. Now, look, me and Wack talked about this. So, you know, Big 30's lawyer was like, well, there's lots of Rolexes out there. How are you going to say that it's the same Rolexes?
I can't comment on what they posted on their Instagram page. I can't comment about whether they own Rolexes or whether they had a 1017 chain through Pooh Shiesty or Gucci Mane or somebody else affiliated with the label. And again, it still goes back to how do we corroborate the facts that are in that complaint? You corroborate those facts with evidence. And from what has been testified to at this point, there's been no physical evidence that corroborates the things that you're saying happened and occurred on that day.
And you know what Wack said? Said, okay, so they're going to go to the guys who flashed the Rolexes and said, show us the receipt for the Rolex you flashed.
This is what happens when you're sitting in front of the jury. You're right. Lots of people, can you show us proof of where you got yours from? And those of us that have Rolexes, we keep our paperwork and we keep the box.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So he can show you these things.
Yes.
And it's going to be exactly that watch. Okay, sir, can you show us where you purchased this?
That's not how court works.
No?
Come on, man. The burden of proof is on the prosecutor, right?
Listen, you got a guy who actually did provide the receipt for the Rolex that got stolen.
I get you, but
and then shortly afterwards, the guy that actually robbed him is flashing the same type of Rolex on social media. I don't think the jury's that stupid.
You have to listen. You have to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt.
And I think Big 30 and Pooh Shiesty are the only ones that have real lawyers. The rest of the guys are fucking public defenders.
You say that now. Let me tell you. By the time this gets to trial, right now, this is a bunch of paperwork stuff, right? I'm pretty sure only an idiot like Pooh is going to make sure everybody has some type of lawyer that folds up on their heads.
Oh, really?
That's how it works.
Kind of like how Young Thug did? Nobody had lawyers outside of Thug and, what's his name? Yak Gotti.
You don't think, go look back at the YSL case. If everybody's lawyer was so separate, why was Brian Steele the lead attorney that was making, everybody would just all sign on to every motion he made. You know how it goes. Like the guy with the money, like of course right now there's nothing going on in court. They're not gonna get out of jail if they're getting, or actually everyone's gotten out. Everyone's gotten a bond but Shiesty and one other guy.
Big 30's not on bond.
Well, he is gonna be on bond. He got a bond already.
Yeah, but they denied it.
No, because he has to go to another judge.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? But the mere fact that he's granted a bond, he got granted a bond by the magistrate judge out of Memphis, right? That is a huge win, and usually how it goes when you're appealing bond, right? When you're appealing bond, remember, the only reason why he's locked up, he can't take bond. He never got denied bond yet. The feds appealed the bond he got. So while the appeal is going through, because it's going to go to the district judge, that's the trial judge, they have to keep him in custody until the appeal goes through, right? But the way it works with appeals or interlocutory appeals in any type of situation, if one judge already makes a decision, you have to show inordinate circumstances why the next judge would go against it. It's the reason why Diddy got rolling nose when he was denied bond. If there was one judge that said, oh, we're going to give you a bond, even if the feds appeal it, it would be likely that appeal would be denied. And so yeah, I think these guys, the father got a bond, Big 30 got a bond. And keep in mind, if we're saying that Gucci is the main witness or the main victim, the 2 people or the 3 people that were in the room with him that started all of this kidnapping and signing under duress, Big 30 and the Pops with Pooh Shiesty, and they got bonds. So this idea, I keep hearing people throw these like really ridiculous, oh, he's going to do 30 years. Well,
you don't think Pooh Shiesty could do 30 years over this?
No, he can. I'm not saying he can't. I feel like it carries that. But what I'm saying is that what that's going to take is that you're going to have to put Gucci Man on the stand. And I know everybody, do you think Gucci Man is going to come off like a really good witness that's going to have people saying, yeah, these guys are guilty? There's no more evidence. They don't have what was stolen. It's a bunch of he said, she said. Come on. Like, if there was some hard evidence, most of the evidence they're copping to. Like, the guy, Arthur
Horn, yeah.
Arthur Horn. He basically copped to all of the evidence that the cops said they took 4 months to, which I thought was stupid too, right? Like, don't admit to the evidence. Like, for example, the cops said, oh, we went over LPR data. That's license plate readers. We went over ankle monitor stuff. They got a lot of like forensic, like data-driven stuff that show that they did travel to Dallas together in these cars. We got them here at the lights. They went in the bill. They got all those stuff. Here's what Big 30's lawyer is saying, because, you know, they never said Big 30 had a gun. Well, didn't never threaten anyone with a gun, according to what they said. They said, no, Big 30, we're not denying that he went to that studio. Actually, he was at the studio to record. That kills like 3 months of work from the feds. It's not like they're saying we weren't in that location, and they're like, that's what happened in the Tekashi 6ix9ine thing, right? Like with the kids that broke in. Their response would be, we were never by 6ix9ine's house. How can we do it? Well, we have your cell phone pinging here. We have this doorbell camera. See, that's different when someone's like, no, we were there. Yeah, we just weren't there for the reason you're saying we're there. So how do you prove this crime?
Yeah, and by the way, I heard that the 6ix9ine robbers are facing life.
Yeah, this idea of facing life, they're kids. They're going to get like 10 years.
Yeah, man, listen, I don't know.
Actually, 10 to 15, they had a gun in their damn hands. Stupid as fuck.
Exactly. Listen, I don't know what's ultimately going to happen. All I do know, and I tweeted about this, is that Pooh Shiesty sat in a jail cell for 3 years trying to figure out how to get his way out of this contract. And the best solution he could find was kidnapping.
Yeah, I've heard you say that, Vlad. I don't like when you say it, because that's not true.
Really?
Like, I don't even buy this whole conspiracy of kidnapping thing. Like, I don't think they were on like a group call or like, yo, listen, make sure you get the rope, make sure you get abducted. It wasn't that.
He sent someone out to bring back a bag of guns. They went out and brought guns back into the studio.
No, he said, get me my bag. Yes, it did have a gun. What I'm saying is that the premeditated part is you're saying he sat in jail and thought about a kidnapping. That never happened. The reality behind it, they thought they were going to have a conversation with Gucci and thought Gucci would somehow let him out the contract or agree. Clearly, the conversation escalated to the point, and I think they probably did, yo, all right, let's bring the paperwork. We're going to tell him, yo, listen, yo, how much you wanted? And it probably Gucci wasn't going. And it escalated. All right, fuck that, man. All right, now we shouting. Fuck it. The shouting is going to turn into, all right, yo, you think we playing? All right, now I'm pulling out a gun. What's up? Yo, come on, yo, stop playing with me. Right? So it's, I don't believe in conspiracy to kidnap because I don't think they went there saying, hey, we're going to kidnap him. I think everything escalated. If you even read a complaint, you could tell that they start getting more aggressive when the guy, there's another guy, Gucci's friend, not the white guy that was the cameraman. And that's when they start acting like they're about to shoot him or whatever. But you could tell, I think it escalates to even a robbery. I don't think they were saying, yo, we're gonna go kidnap the guy and rob him. I think they were like, yo, we're getting out of this deal by any means necessary.
Well, if you already signed the contract, why rob him? And then why rob all the guys in the other room?
That's what I'm saying. I think all that that's not planned. Like, you think they're thinking, oh, Gucci's gonna come with X, Y, and Z.
But does it really matter if it's planned or not? I understand.
It does matter because he's charged with conspiracy.
No, I understand that on the Fed side, and this is what me and Arthur Horn, the lawyer, talked about. He said, listen, Big 30 records in that studio. He had other sessions with other artists. There was no plan.
Conspiracy, you have to prove intent. That's the first thing.
But here's the thing. The state could then say, okay, cool, we'll just turn this into a robbery and kidnapping. Fuck the feds. You're still got a fucking serious charge on your hands.
I think if the feds don't do anything with it, state ain't gonna do anything with it either.
You think no one's gonna walk away from this, man?
No
one's walking away from this.
Walking away looks like
too many statements and witnesses now and everything. No.
What walking away looks like is Shiesty probably is gonna do another year or 2 more years.
No.
Right.
No, I don't think this is going to happen.
Again.
A year or 2, you're bugging.
Hold on.
You're bugging. I would bet you, but I don't want to bet over a man going to prison.
Hold on.
You know what I'm saying? But I totally disagree with you.
Wait. I don't think he's getting convicted for this. I think he's going to do time for what he's already on because he fucked up. You got an ankle monitor on. Like they don't need to be doing the tit for tat for you. All right, bro. The mere fact you're caught up in this, everything's revoked. Go sit back down. Right? I don't think these guys are getting convicted. Like, I really don't. Like, some of these things,
right.
I'll wait for the grand jury indictment on all of these.
I agree to disagree. I agree to disagree.
I'll wait for the grand jury indictment on all of these things.
Well, isn't there already indictment?
No, it's a criminal complaint.
Oh, yeah, okay, right.
Which means a fucking agent just sat there and did all the work and now basically said, oh, okay, we have a case. All right, bring it to a grand jury. Let's see if it's even probable cause. You claim is Gucci going to testify at this grand jury thing? They're going to subpoena him, I know, for sure.
We'll see. I mean, he already did a song about it. That's going to be evidence. He pretty much lays out the situation.
Nah, that song can't be evidence unless he testifies.
I think...
No, 100%. They can't use material without the person testifying to the material. They try to use it, even YouTube videos for me.
Tekashi?
No, YSL. Judge literally said, unless you get him to testify to the meaning of these things, you can't use it. So again, Gucci testifying, that's where I'm hinging my will he be convicted or not? I think that he's already dragging his feet. You talk to Dallas PD the next day or the same day, and you haven't talked to the feds in 4 months. The feds said, "Oh, we're gonna catch up with Gucci. We have a later meeting." Gucci's been getting called a rat in every public setting he's been in. Do I think Gucci, who is, according to everyone, who's getting medically sedated, getting told what he has to eat, do, how to walk, how to talk by his wife, is now able to go up on the stand and properly cooperate? I don't think so. And I'm a betting man, I would bet that if he did even attempt, it'd probably come out looking like YSL Woody. So, okay, let's get that out of the mix, right? Now we have the 2 other guys. I think whoever the second guy is, he's gonna march to the beat of Gucci's drum, honestly. Why? I think he works with Gucci on the music side.
Well, no, from what I understand, this is like one of his childhood friends from Zone 6. Yeah.
Yeah, and he works with Gucci on the music side. We just seen Fujiana get out. Yep. Fujiana already put Pooh Shiesty as his profile picture.
Yeah, the mugshot.
Yeah, which everybody's saying it. Gucci finna do all these meetings now on Zoom, okay? Maybe Google Meet. That's how it's gonna go down. He's gonna do these meetings on Zoom.
There's a video of Gucci saying that he's actually letting all his artists go. He realized he hasn't made any money off these artists.
No, so that's where it gets complicated.
Oh, okay.
Back when that happened, And this is why, you ready for this conspiracy? I'll break it down real quick.
All right.
The conspiracy is that one of the reasons why it gets so far to be a kidnapping and a robbery is that, and by the way, wait, I'm tripping myself up a little bit because I want to give every detail. Pooh Shiesty had posted on Instagram before about how unhappy he was. And he said he got out of jail and the label didn't give him anything. And that's one of the reasons I'm skeptical why Gucci thought he was gonna have a great meeting with Pooh Shiesty. Like, he was already publicly venting that no one supported him, right? Okay, so here's the conspiracy theory. It's the Gotti and Gucci beef still rearing its ugly head.
I heard that too, yeah.
So people feel like Gotti was about to sign Pooh Shiesty.
Heard that.
And what happened is, and going back to your statement about when Gucci dropped all his artists, there was a moment in time when Gucci, 1017 has gone through many different iterations. They had 1017 Icy, 1017 New 1017. Like, it's been on different labels. So he's brought 1017 as a label roster at different places. And at one point, he signed 8 artists in Memphis. And the interesting part about that is, it was seen that was Gucci's way of trying to sign up everybody in Gotti's city. He was trying to turn his city against him by giving all the rappers, the younger rappers, opportunities, turn them against Gotti. Mm-hmm. Eventually, he didn't believe in most of them, right? Like, these guys weren't going nowhere. And at a certain point when, an artist started actually asking for, like, resources, like, he's like, I'm dropping all of y'all, I'm only keeping a few. One of the few he kept was Shiesty.
Yeah, so Pooh Shiesty's still signed to him.
Yeah. So he kept Shiesty, and he kept Shiesty, Fujiano, and but it's interesting because the first play, when you looked at it, he literally had like 8 Memphis artists signed to him. So that was a Gotti play. Yeah. And then now, Shiesty signed to him. Shiesty, I would imagine Gotti's in the background, trying to do the reverse by saying, you know what, you haven't supported your artist while he's in jail. I'm going to try to take him from you. And then now this kind of happened. So we'll see, man. We'll see. It's interesting conspiracy.
Well, you and Drake have a relationship.
It's my guy.
Iceman is supposed to drop May 15th, which is a little over 2 weeks from now.
Iceman on the way, man.
Have you heard the album?
I have not. I like it like this. I've said publicly, but I've also said to him, what kind of sucks when you become like this insider is like, you almost kind of feel like you're being fake. And there's been so many times that I know something privately that I have to be on stream and I have to act like I don't know. And I gotta act like, these things, I can't do the, I'm surprised thing when I've known it all along. So, also I have like this very distinct relationship with Drake fans where, because I'm like this insider who speaks to Drake, and at this point, Drake doesn't speak to really anybody in the media. Sometimes his fans will kind of get mad at me. They're like, man, you're kind of like giving out too much clues and you're ruining it for us. Like, we want to kind of like be surprised. Mm-hmm. And I actually kind of understand that. And I've been the person who kind of like leaked a lot of stuff or, announced a lot of things for him. And as people know, like, he sampled my voice on like this diss track to Kendrick, right? And this was the album, I think it's one of his most important albums, but I wanted to go back to the I'm a fan, right? It's like you get to be Stephen A. little bit too much, where you're walking on the court, dapping up LeBron and having conversations and arguments, and you kind of lose the essence of what you really fuck with and like about it. And I kind of like went back to, I don't want to hear nothing about the album until it drops. It's still my guy, I talk to him still. It's just that, just roll out everything. Like, I was surprised by this fucking like Ice thing. This thing was good. Like, it's a rollout.
Yeah.
Listen, I critique my friends or I critique, people who I like as musicians. I've always thought Drake rollouts were lazy. I thought it was uneventful. I thought he kind of leaned on the fact that he made such great music and he was so good that he didn't have to do much. And I always like kind of looked at them like, if you gave like 1% effort, it would just move, it would do so much. Because fans want to feel like they're experiencing like this movie with you dropping, and I think he's doing it now. So the Ice thing, I was pleasantly surprised by. you know what I mean? I'm like pocket watching. I'm like, damn, how much money is this? What the fuck? I'm like,
He can afford it.
no, I know you can't. But yeah, no, that was a good rollout for the release date. And at least we know now, in 3 weeks, we're going to figure out everything. There's so much questions to be asked.
Yeah. The features.
What is he talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
talk about Kendrick, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I want to, you know the biggest thing I want to know? How does this album come out when you're actively beefing with UMG? How does it look? How do they...
Well, is he, because he lost, and he's trying to appeal.
He's in the booklet for the album. Lucian Grainge is the CEO of UMG.
Mm-hmm.
He has a picture that features Lucian shaking hands at some award show with, oh, actually, it's when Lucian, I believe, was shaking hands with Dr. Dre at the Grammys for Kendrick. When Kendrick won the Grammy, and he cropped out Lucian's head and he put like a message. He's like, yo, you're dust or something like that. I'm like, in the history of music, it's never gone good. Number one, beefing with your label. But number two, beefing with the guy who runs your label. C50 Cent, Jimmy Iovine, okay? However, Jimmy Iovine's power, he was the guy who, you know, Interscope and everything like that. Lucian is 10 times more powerful than Jimmy Iovine ever was. Drake is going up against, you know, and I don't know if Lucian takes any of this personal, but Drake is going up against the bosses of bosses. And, you know, I think a lot of people always said with 50 Cent and Jimmy Iovine was that Jimmy probably felt so disrespected that he was willing to make less money, but to teach 50 a lesson. Because the way 50 used to be talking was like, you need me. And there was a moment where 50 started acknowledging like, they're going against me and the only option would be that they're down to lose money to humble you. And if you think about that on a 50 level and now Drake, what happens with Drake and Universal? I thought this album wouldn't see the light of day until that lawsuit was all the way finished. And also he was re-signed into a longer deal. And, you know, hey, we give you a little bit more millions. You know, you kind of backtrack off of some of the stuff you're accusing us of and, you know, just business as usual. But potentially this is his last album.
Oh, so this fulfills his Universal contract?
Yes, if he didn't re-up, right? And he's still like taking some aim at them and he's still filing a lawsuit. It potentially this would be the thing to make him a free agent. What does that look like? Drake being a free agent? Is he going to be a free agent? If I'm Lucian Grainge, UMG, do I even allow him to be a free agent?
Well, you can't stop it.
There's a lot of ways you could prevent that from.
Well, if the contract is over, the contract is over. It's time to either re-sign or he goes somewhere else.
Yeah,
or he goes independent. Independent Drake would be interesting.
The way how music works is that at the end of your deal and the end of your contract, a label could literally kill your career. It's not just simple as, oh, just drop. Because put it like this, if they know Drake has no intent to sign back and they realize that Drake might go disrupt the market or the mentality of up-and-coming rappers to want to sign to a major, they could delay. Drake can't pick when they have to do some internal audit to be like, we're counting this for you to be out of your contract. And every contract's going to have some grace period of after you're out of the contract, you can't drop music, period. Because we still got to recoup. It happened. When Youngboy got out of Atlantic, he couldn't drop music for a certain while. That's baked in the contract. These contracts are not to make you like get your best album and just walk away and be independent. You always got to remember, anytime an artist is at his last album or his last project, it takes forever. Damn was the last project that he had to give to TDE. I'm talking about Kendrick. He didn't drop another project for 5 years, or was it 6 years, however long. Why? Because he was going through these contract situations. He was trying to get out of the deal. So when these artists get down to the last, this is music. You don't let an artist go. Like, it sounds good to be like, oh yeah, he just drops the album and he walks away. In what world? This is music.
Yeah. Is there any truth at all to Kendrick dropping an album on the same day called Fireman? And let me say, if Kendrick does this, Kendrick, you are the GOAT.
No.
If he actually does this, I don't think he is.
I think it would be the worst decision of his life.
Really?
Yeah.
What if the album is just banging?
Put it like this.
Because you know, hold on a second. Kendrick is notorious for dropping albums out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, I don't think he has a rollout for any of his albums. They all just drop.
This would be the worst thing he's ever done.
Huh. Okay.
Because I do believe where hip hop is now, okay, you did the battle, you did the 2-year victory lap. Like, come on, 2-year victory lap. It would only degrade Kendrick as never being greater than Drake, but just only being the person to compete with Drake. He has to get out of that. You know? He has to get out of that, like, okay, I pop up when it's a Drake comparison. You know, if I'm him, I would move as if I'm past it, or I'm above it, or I defeated Homeboy already, and now I'm gonna do. If he dropped that, I think it would just actually cement that, okay, cool, you might be like, oh, this guy, he got Drake's number, but he's kind of also using the moment from 3 years ago at this point to still like, it would be regressive of him, if you ask me. I hope you understand what I'm saying, right? Like, is it regressive to still, it's like whoever you've had beef with and you're still like dropping new stuff every time they drop. You know, they always accuse Jay-Z of doing that with, Nas of doing that with, Jay doing that with Nas. You know, right? They said Jay would always announce an album or drop an album when Nas was dropping long after the beef and the battle had subsided. But I think that would be stupid on Kendrick's part. It would just turn you into the Drake reaction music. It's like Drake reaction music, like, okay.
Last question. David, the singer,
Yeah.
has been arrested. I guess they found a mountain of child porn on his phone.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me. Like, you know that you're probably going to get arrested sometime soon. Why not get rid of that shit? Seriously. Like, I don't fucking, not to say that he should have had it in the first place, because all that shit is disgusting. But
I don't think they found it on his actual phone. I think they probably subpoenaed his iCloud a long time ago.
Oh, right.
So they probably seized it already. They got it already without having the phone. You know?
Do you think that he's going to get convicted? Or do you think they spent this long because they don't really have something on him? It's very...
Okay, so I'm going to give a multifaceted answer. I think it's both. He's 100% going to get convicted.
And he's faced the death penalty.
I don't think he's going to get that. I think he's definitely going to get convicted, but this is where the media comes in. Everything around the case is so disgusting that there's no jury that's going to go get seated and actually say, you know what? This kid could probably just be set up. It's a disgusting, vile case. Even if you want to say, we don't know if he killed her, it's disgusting that he was like 19, she's 14. There's so many things that would repulse someone. You can't separate maybe your thoughts of how your morality from actually just saying, well, these things don't line up. So he's getting convicted. And obviously, it's not only the murder, like, you know, obviously there's sex with a minor and, you know, obviously some of the child pornography stuff. So he's definitely going away. However, I do think that they don't have much.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah, they don't have much.
That's what I think too. You have a dead body and you have a connection, but they don't actually have the murder occurring.
Yeah, they don't know exactly where the murder occurred.
Yeah.
They don't know what the weapon was.
Right. Well, I guess it was a knife. I guess she had like 2 puncture wounds or something like that.
Well, it's something that obviously pierced her skin and created a stab wound, but we don't know what that is. That could be a knife. It could be some type of, like, you know, all they could say is it had a smooth blade, which would say it's a knife, but you don't know what it was, right? Both of the wounds were in different lengths, which if it's a blade of a knife and it goes through, it would normally have around the same length. So you really don't know what it is. Again, it's trying to recreate the scene is very difficult.
Right. The body's decomposed. Like,
yes.
It's a big uphill, hill to climb for the prosecution.
I think with this one, he gets convicted based on, you know,
circumstantial evidence.
Well, obviously circumstantial evidence, but I think the media and just the good of the community where people are so repulsed by this, it's like one of those like, you know, in most cases they're saying you're innocent until proven guilty. I think in this case they're like, yo, his lawyers better give us a fucking reason why he ain't do the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, with Diddy case, it was like, they didn't really present a case, so they were like, all right, well, you guys need to prove that we did it. I think this David situation, I think we're so upset at it, and it's so disgusting. We're like, motherfucker, you better tell us where you were on that fucking night. You better tell it. You better show us some shit that makes us think otherwise. Otherwise, we'll be okay with just like letting you go down.
Yeah, what's interesting is that David's brother posted, all should die, period. And you know who's getting tagged?
Who?
In those posts?
His brother.
No.
Who?
Nicki Minaj.
Oh my God. Yo, what?
Yes. Nicki Minaj.
Oh,
people are tagging Nicki Minaj saying, look, it's not that hard. Why don't you do this?
Oh yeah, I forgot Nicki's brother went through that too.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Well, Nicki's brother didn't kill the girl, but he definitely raped her.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you're looking towards Nicki Minaj to give like any type of answer about her sibling, even with those vile charges, is like,
yeah, don't hold your breath.
You don't hold your breath, bro.
Plus, I think from Nicki's point of view, and she's talked about this publicly, she feels that the daughter's mother was trying to extort her for a bunch of money, which makes her think that maybe her brother is innocent and got railroaded.
Well, that's the story of how she believes in a lot of those situations. And, you know, who am I to, you know, again.
They're just trying to get my money. It's all about money.
Yeah, well, that's what she said about the situation with her husband, too. Remember her husband?
Yeah, but he was convicted.
Yeah, well, that's why she said, well, you know, the young lady have been trying to.
Sue her, yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, bring her into the case. Man, you know what? I see Nicki in that situation, and
Nicki Minaj.
Sometimes I wonder about her mental state with that, because I feel like she's fighting these battles of trying to convince people that what they're seeing ain't what happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might be a good conspiracy, and then after a while I'd be like, wait, so you believe nothing is real, right? So you believe
it's all fake. All of it.
And so, you know.
Yeah, the world is flat.
It's one of those.
We never went to space. Man. Yeah, man, listen. Nicki is Nicki, and she's always going to be Nicki. She's a superstar.
She's on the Trump train, though.
She's on the Trump train. Oh, she did the whole thing.
I didn't know she was not a citizen. This whole time I thought she was a citizen.
Oh, yeah, there was a whole thing to like deport Nicki. Like there was a whole.
I thought it was cap because I thought that she was an actual citizen.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, she has like a permanent green card. Well, and now she's married to a citizen, so it kind of doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. If you ain't a citizen, you ain't a citizen.
But if you get a citizenship by marrying a U.S. citizen, if it's an actual marriage.
But you gotta get to the process. Like, if she's worried about some type of permanent card or something, she doesn't have citizenship. You could have a permanent residency, but there is a whole process towards getting sworn in, or I forgot, you like take some oath or whatever, and you're now officially a citizen.
Yeah, like I'm a citizen. I wasn't born in America.
Yeah, me too.
But I got my citizenship.
Yeah,
I'm a U.S. citizen.
So, but that's what I'm saying. If she was worried about that card.
So here we go. So she was born in Trinidad.
Yeah.
She's been a lawful permanent resident green card holder for years. She even said recently she's finalizing U.S. citizenship paperwork.
Damn, what took so long?
Yeah, I don't know. What is she, like 40?
That might have been complicated by her guy then. Yeah, if your spouse's criminal history could hold that process up. It doesn't deny you necessarily outright, but it holds that process up.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Nicki's always going to be a superstar. She's got a huge catalog. She's got a bunch of adoring fans, and she's going off in a weird direction, but at the end of the day, I don't think that anyone could tell Nicki what to do. I don't think her husband has much of a say in her.
The only thing I question with Nicki is sometimes when I see her online, she doesn't seem happy. And I've often wondered, a little with Kanye too, is like, you guys are at the top of your craft. You guys have made so much money. What does happiness look like for y'all? Because it feels like there's always like a complaint. There's always, oh, this person's doing you wrong. And at some point, like you become the person who, in most situations, you have the power to affect other people more than they have to affect you. So like, how are you always the victim? So I would love to see like, what's a happy day for Nicki Minaj? Because like sometimes I see her on Twitter and, you know, I can't even say like, she been saying some stuff about Jay-Z and normally I'd be like, all right, Nicki's kind of off one, man. But shit, you know, there might be some stuff there, but.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you mentioned Kanye. What's crazy, I don't think me and you have spoken about this. Me and Kanye were supposed to have an interview. Did I tell you this?
I think you did.
Yeah. Me and, like, not like, oh, yeah, you know, it might happen. Like, we had a date.
Yeah.
We booked the studio. We went over the questions.
Really?
I had the whole Bully album. I can show you on my phone.
When?
I had it for months.
Wait, when was this interview?
It's supposed to happen a few months ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. This was supposed to be the interview about the album.
Oh.
And literally, he sent me, like I've had most of those songs on my phone, you know? And like I said, we were even going over questions. And then it was like, look, unfortunately right now, Kanye is still trying to figure out his medication. And he's just not totally lucid in his speech. So therefore, they're like, it's just not going to happen right now. But it was super close. It was super close. To the point where we booked the studio and everything. And there's a specific studio he wanted to shoot in. That was expensive as hell. You know, luckily we were able to cancel. But we literally were going over questions. So there was like certain questions that we took out and so forth. And I have, you know, like for example,
that's insane.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, no.
What's the last song of the album? Let me see. What was?
I feel like I got to meet Ye again.
Yeah, like the song, this one here, like that's been my favorite song on the album. But I've had it. I have a different version of it. It's just slightly different. You know, if you ever want to listen to it, I'll play it for you. But yeah, man, it was really gonna happen. I was super excited, super excited.
Well, I think what's happening now is that.
But notice, I just want to say this: he hasn't done any interviews. He just had like a print interview, I think, in the New York Times or something bizarre or something.
They keep trying to cancel him from every country.
Yeah, I know.
He apologized to the Jewish people already.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
I personally,
yes.
You forgive him?
Yeah, I do.
I'm wondering if, like,
I think with Kanye, you really are dealing with mental illness, right? I don't think it's an act.
Oh, no, of course not.
It's not an act. Like Kanye's really, and I've interviewed Kanye before, like way before VladTV, like in 2004 or something. And he's always been just a little off. So, listen, at the end of the day, if he apologized, I'm going to take his apology for face value, and I understand the mental, disability part. Now, blaming it, on the accident is a little, I don't know. Like that part there I thought was, But at the end of the day, he has apologized. It seems sincere. He's been meeting with like Jewish groups and stuff like that. I don't know.
I mean, you've been doing like every day though. I'm like, yo, damn, when's enough? Yeah, I will say.
From my point of view, I'm fine. Like I said, I would have sat down with Kanye if I thought that he hated my kind.
He just need to sit down with you, Aiden Ross, and Drake same time.
The same time? All the Jews? All the big hip-hop Jews?
Yeah, come on. I will say, I feel like I want to meet him again because I want to meet this version of him. I remember the version of him I met in that hotel when he came out with the fucking Klan suit on.
The black Klan suit.
And I want to meet this version of him that is... I'm watching him, but he seems like he's almost like, I don't want to spread hate, and like he's almost a little bit timid of even certain things that's even controversial right now. He doesn't want to.
I think that he's not totally lucid. Like he's able to do a show, but he's not talking to people. And what they pointed out was like if you see him, remember when he came out to the Dion Cole show, he was a little slow. Or there was this little video in Japan where he's like, oh, what's the biggest scam? And he was like, life. He's just a little bit delayed.
You think they got him on the Gucci man?
I think so, yeah. From what I understand, he's been working with different doctors to try to get the right combination for his, mental pills.
You know what I realized though? And I've been around a lot of these big entertainers. Yo, a lot of them are sedated. Like
Really?
you get, yes. And when they're not, they're fucking monsters. I'm serious. They're fucking monsters.
Remember when we did our interview and you said Kanye's planning something really big?
Yeah.
But I can't say it because I don't want to ruin it for
Yeah.
him.
I've heard what the next thing is. You're not thinking big enough. I'll tell you off camera.
Sex
You're
change?
You're not thinking big enough. I can't believe you said, no. I heard this yesterday. But it was an off-camera conversation around some of the guys he's around that kind of came to me. And in case he wants to do it, I don't want to be the person who announced it that fucks it up.
At this point, I don't think he's going to do that at all.
Yeah, nah.
He's on a different time. Can you say on camera what he was planning on doing?
Yeah, no. So I want to give a little context to it. So apparently, like he's in the studio with like some people, and there was like a streamer who had previously did like a stunt where he like faked his death.
Neon.
Yes, and Ye's around him, and Ye kind of says to him, "Yo, that's what I want to do. That's my next thing. I want to fake my death."
Yeah.
And I think they kind of looked at Ye and they were like, "Yo," but again, you know, I think it's that mindset. I think there was a time, I remember after even walking out of that interview with him, and Ye was he was so keen on telling me, he's like, I want to say anything to make them hurt. Like he wanted people to hurt. Like I could tell, it wasn't even about him believing shit. He wanted people to hurt. And I could tell he was hurt. He was hurt, but he wanted to like, I think he was like, I'm trying to come up with the most hurtful things I could say because I want to say it, but I want to see them hurt. And, you know, that's a really interesting cross-section of his life. And, you know, I hope he's not all the way defined by that completely. And that's why I say I want to meet this new version of him, because that time in his life, I really think that he was, you know, I've never heard him like suicidal or anything like that, but like it feels like a guy who was almost kind of moving like he had nothing while he had everything. And when someone has that type of mentality where they're kind of like stripped down, but they're also like at a place of like desperation, but tremendous hurt. Like when I was interviewing him, I'm telling you, he has a clan mask on. It's really like it was really like this dope ass expensive leather, like. But he's kind of sweating. I could kind of see his eyes and shit. And there was a point like I could see him like he's fully teared up, like but it was teared up. You could tell he was so hurt. He was so hurt. And that's why I continued to talk to him afterwards, because like he would call me and he would like just vent. He would just tell me the things that was just hurting him. And I didn't know what to say. Like I'm kind of new to the orbit of Ye talking to me, and you know, I'm kind of hearing him kind of like vent about whether it's his relationship with Jay or the relationship with the mother of his child, or newer rappers or these other people that he felt he did so much. And he felt like at such a low point, but he was so hurt. And I remember, like, I know me personally, I was like, I think this would be any human. I'm like, okay, how could I keep this guy positive, but also try to give him advice that he could get through this hurt? And advice definitely wasn't going to be, nigga, you need to go to therapy. Like, you know, I think that's what people are, you need to go to some therapy. You know what I mean? Like, shit, I remember when he told me the story of the whole stuff with Bianca. And a week later, he sends me the song, Bianca, I Want You to Come Home. And he told me the story of what was actually happening. And like, he was hurt over that too. Like, it's one thing I'll say about him, there's a lot of mental issues there that has happened. I think also, I think bigger than the accident was the death of his mom. But you've seen it playing out in real time. You see a guy that, for whatever reason at that moment, and it's gonna sound crazy, he felt he needed to let people know he sucked his cousin's dick. Like, I know it's gonna sound funny, but it's not funny. He, like, even repressed trauma from then, he felt he had to unearth. You could see that this guy's living a real life. And, I've always said that the greatest artists, there is zero line between their art and their life. And I think Kanye is that. all that music he made then, which I think, even the Hitler song, which I think, he said later he didn't want people to play anymore. In that moment, when he did create those musics, his mindset and whether it was the anger, the vitriol, wanted to push the limits, that was him. So still a purity among it, and I think Bully came out and people do like it.
People like it, but, and I thought it was a pretty good album. I wouldn't put it up there with his best albums at all.
No.
No, not at all. But the interesting part is that when I look at the Spotify charts, none of the songs from Bully are really ever up there.
Yeah, because they're not like, his album, by the way, I think this week it's still like the #1 hip hop album this week.
Well, that's not saying a lot because hip hop is kind of in a bad place right now in terms of the charts.
But still, if it's the top hip hop album, it's just showing that it's still being consumed the most. The point is this: I think people are scared of really backing him, not knowing when he's going to basically go back to saying the things that would make you look stupid, right? I think this is why, like, some of these countries are like, you know what? People used to say, or not even used to say, when people say him at the Super Bowl, I heard those conversations after they saw that performance at SoFi. It's like, of course he would be amazing at the Super Bowl. But do you think they would give him a hot mic? Like,
absolutely not.
Yo, a hot mic with 200 million people watching. Yo, this would be amazing.
Right. And here's the thing, right? Because people are like, well, why can't he play in Europe? Why did the UK ban him? Why did France ban him? Why did all these other places ban him? What people don't understand is that World War II didn't happen in North America. It happened in Europe.
True.
France was decimated by the fucking Nazis. True. The Nazis just destroyed Paris. They marched through like the Arc de Triomphe. The whole, Hitler's Nazi army marched through there and took over the whole country. A lot of these countries were just so messed up by the Nazis that people actually have relatives that went through that. Right? Like bunch of, my grandfather had like 10 brothers and sisters that all died in World War II. So when you're like, well, why are they tripping? He apologized. Well, they take it a little more seriously over there. For example, I remember when I was in college, my first year, there was a German exchange student that was on the same floor as me. And I was like, so, what's different about Germany than America? He goes, well, I'll give you a great example. Let's just say, we're in New York right now. Somebody, draws a swastika in the McDonald's bathroom, on the wall. What will happen?
Here?
Yeah.
Probably like some public shaming.
No, but I'm saying, like, if they find a swastika on the wall in a McDonald's bathroom, do you think anything will happen? Will there be an investigation or anything else like that?
Not really.
No one will give a shit. They'll wash it off and they'll keep it moving. If that. In Germany, they'll lock down the whole block. There'll be a whole investigation. They'll find out who drew that swastika. That person will be arrested. It'll be in the news. It's a whole thing, right? They're very much more touchy about the whole Nazi thing in Europe. So if he wants to do shows in Europe, he has an uphill battle to climb. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but we can't sit there and tell these countries how to feel because they probably still have, messed up buildings and, actual proof of the war happening in those countries. And people that were in the war, had relatives in the war, grandparents that are, went through the Holocaust and, internment camps and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. He's got a long road to go, but he seems to want to do it. But you saw what happened in LA. Sold out 2 shows. There's like 1 million people on the waiting list.
Yeah.
So he still has fans.
Yeah, no, he's the only artist that will have infinite amount of chances. But
yes.
I wasn't that disappointed that those shows got canceled overseas. It's a show. You got a little bit more work to do.
Yeah,
we hear the apology. I don't think people are writing them off. I think they're just saying, hey, listen, we want to see real commitment, and I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's very fair.
Yeah, and also if you look at his track record, he'll have an apology and then do a Hail Hitler song 2 weeks later.
And triple that. Yeah, so,
then come back and apologize again.
I think what he needs to do is to show some commitment in letting people know that, hey, this is not me. Or I made a mistake. And, over time, maybe they'll give him another chance. And if not, he still has a huge fan base in South America, North America.
Asia.
Yeah, they'll still fuck with him.
He's fine. Kanye will never go broke. He'll never not have fans. He'll never not have timeless music.
The only thing I'll say, man.
Yeah, unless he gets arrested or killed, he'll be fine.
The only thing I'll say about Ye undoubtedly would have been the biggest, richest everything in music if he just didn't crash out.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, but the reason why he
would have
is
been
where
up
he
$20
is,
billion.
Yeah,
he would have been like literally, he could have like controlled and bought the entire hip hop.
Sure.
I don't know.
But here's the thing though. The reason why he's so brilliant in music is because he really is like that mentally.
Yeah, they always say every genius is a little bit crazy.
Right. And like, for example, I've had like arguments with people, like me and Papoose, we're going back and forth about this. I feel that as an artist, not just a rapper, as an overall artist, Kanye's a much better artist than Jay-Z. Kanye could do what Jay-Z does, more or less.
Kanye is not even close to Jay-Z. What are you talking about? I don't even think I wouldn't even compare him to Jay-Z. He's not on Jay-Z's level at all.
Really? So you would say Jay-Z's a better artist than Kanye?
Hell yeah, he's a better everything than Kanye. So to answer your question, I think Jay-Z is light years ahead of Kanye. I think Kanye would tell you that. He said he's better than Jay-Z?
No, he didn't say that, but I actually would say that.
Nah, bro, he can't. Yo, bro, Kanye can't fuck with no Jay-Z, bro.
Right, but what I am going to say is Jay can't do the type of music that Kanye has done. Like the really melodic stuff, like the really, the stuff with the singing involved and just like going real left field artistically. I haven't seen Jay-Z do that.
I think he absolutely
has
can.
Done that throughout his career.
Jay-Z absolutely can.
Like for example, when you look at like,
of course,
Watch the Throne, they were both holding their own rap-wise. Like you can't say, Jay killed him on that whole album. No, I mean certain songs Jay a little better, certain songs Kanye a little better. It is what it is. But Jay can't do the type of melodic songs that Kanye does.
Well, I don't know.
He just can't.
I don't know how you value art. I always looked at, so I rank hip hop in 3 categories. You have rappers, you have MCs, and you have artists. And when it comes to rappers, I've always said Drake is the best rapper.
Okay.
MC, you're probably looking at like a Nas, maybe even a Kendrick. When it comes to artist, 100,000% Kanye is the greatest artist of all time. And that's where, I wouldn't put rapper or MCs. I wouldn't put like somebody like Pac, but Pac is on that artist list. And artist is much more than even just the actual songs. It's actually how you have painted the culture, no matter what it is, through your words, through your actions. How have you embodied, and as an artist, how have you used hip hop to be your paintbrush in any type of way? It could be fashion, anything. And I think Ye is just, it's a reason why, I always tell people, I'm like, listen, when Ye start tripping out, y'all gotta let him do it by himself. Because sometimes y'all be like, oh, we gonna do it too. No, he'll get another chance. He's that good.
Yeah, you won't.
You're done.
You're getting fired.
Yeah, you're done for life. Period. Yeah.
You can't play Hail Hitler at Costco.
Yeah.
You will not be working at any Costco after that.
You're not doing DEFCON nothing. Like, you're out of here. Okay? You're out of here.
That's what it is. Academics, another classic in the can.
Of course, man. Of course. I had to come fill in, man. Boosie don't want to come to work. I'm here.
Until next time.
Boosie, we love you, man.
Peace.